Chapter 21-23, Battling Yuan Haoge? Chapter 21-23, Battling Yuan Haoge. The third round began in the midst of everyone's discussion. Lu Ming seemed to be very lucky. He was up against the Ancient Devil in the first round. Just as everyone had expected, the Ancient Devil was very powerful, but it was no match for Lu Ming and was defeated by him. This was the second time that the Ancient Devil had lost to Lu Ming. Lu Ming had achieved 3 consecutive wins. I guess Lu Ming's winning streak ends here. None of the opponents he's going to face next are weak. They're all stronger than him. That's right. 3 consecutive wins. One reckon he'll lose 6 in a row. Some people discussed and felt that Lu Ming's winning streak would end here. In the second match of the third round, Bubble fought Chella. This was a battle of the peak, a fierce battle. Although Bubble's cultivation base was slightly weaker, her strength had increased tremendously after transforming into her true form. Her control over the spacetime laws had also reached an unimaginable level. Although Creek was strong, it could not hit the Bubble. Of course, it would not be easy for Bubble to defeat Check. Could be said to be very difficult. In the end, after more than 200 moves, Pinker was accidentally teleported out of the battle stage by a spacetime tunnel opened by Bubbles. In this battle, Paoba had won. This made everyone re-evaluate Bubble's strength and re-recognize the power of the top 10 beast. In a battle of the same level, even the Son of Heaven was inferior to the top 10 war beast. Next, it was Yuan Xin's battle against the Star River. Needless to say, the galaxy had suffered another crushing defeat. This made his expression turn uglier and uglier. There were already people who were certain that the galaxy would definitely be ranked 10th. There was no suspense. The fourth match, Immoral versus Virtuous. This was yet another battle of the pinnacle. Unscrupulously, he displayed the golden body of Buddhism and various Buddhist divine powers, but his violent virtue broke all Dharma with one force. The two of them exchanged hundreds of moves. The unscrupulous monk shouted, but it was useless this time. He was no match for Baoda and was finally defeated and thrown out of the fighting ring. Baoda won this round. The last match of the third round was Tianming versus Yuan Haoge. I can see my own fate in the long river of time. Yuan Haoge let out a long howl and used the laws of time and space to fight against destiny. The laws of space and time could indeed somewhat counter the laws of fate, because he could see his own fate through the long river of time. Of course, fate was changing at every moment. What he had seen was only a small part. After that, Tianming used the Great Fate technique to cut off Yuan Haoge's long river of time and defeated him. At the end of the third round, it was still Lu Ming, Tianming, and Yuan Xian who won 3 consecutive rounds. However, everyone thought that Lu Ming was just lucky in the first 3 rounds. He was going to lose in the later rounds. Tianming and Yuan Xian, on the other hand, were both earned through fighting. After a few rounds, the white-haired elder let everyone rest for half a day. After half a day, the fourth round began. The first match of the fourth round was still Lu Ming's first match. However, his opponent this time was Yuan Haoge. Yuan Haoge looked excited, and the two of them stepped onto the fighting ring. Lu Ming, your luck is running out. You'll be defeated in this battle. They'll let you understand that you can't have the spacetime spirit mouse. Yuan Haoge said coldly. Your spacetime law is too weak. You're not my match. Admit defeat so that I don't have to fight. Lu Ming was very direct. He told Yuan Haoge to admit defeat. This stunned everyone. They felt that Lu Ming had exaggerated too much. Although Lu Ming had mastered 2 ultimate maxims and could be said to be unprecedented, he only had the cultivation base of an emperor to be after all. How could he be Yuan Haoge's match? Yuan Haoge's cultivation had already reached the level of a 2-star illusionary emperor. Furthermore, even if they were at the same level, he was still one of the best among the children of heaven. With such a huge difference in cultivation, how could Lu Ming be his match? You want me to admit defeat? What a joke, I'm going to torture you. Yuan Haoge said darkly. As soon as he finished speaking, he charged towards Lu Ming, shuttling through the void at an astonishing speed. In the process of Yuan Haoge's charge, the void in all directions began to distort. A terrifying force pressed down on Lu Ming. This energy contained the power of time and contained the ability to slow time. It made Lu Ming's speed as slow as a turtle's. There was also the power of space. The space in all directions kept squeezing Lu Ming, trying to bind him. On the contrary, Yuan Haoge's speed increased sharply with the help of the spacetime law. He closed in on Lu Ming in the blink of an eye. With a point of his finger, the power of space condensed, containing a terrifying tearing force, and charged towards Lu Ming. In the face of such a scene, Lu Ming's expression remained calm. Boom. He struggled with all his might, and his physical body insane power burst out. The void trembled and the space power on his body kept exploding. Then a long river of two-colored laws appeared. This was the fusion of the laws of chaos and the laws of death. Boom. Lu Ming's arms trembled as he swung his palm. The void exploded, and the power of spacetime that was acting on his body was cut apart. Lu Ming's palm flew toward Yuan Haoge. However, Yuan Haoge's body disappeared in a flash and reappeared behind Lu Ming, launching a blow at him. Bang! It was as if Lu Ming had eyes on the back of his head. He struck his palm backward, clashing with Yuan Haoge's. Yuan Haoge's figure drifted backward. Then, his body trembled and a dense crowd of figures appeared from all directions. So many figures charged at Lu Ming at the same time. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. This was a terrifying killing move. Don't think that the densely packed figures were all illusions. In fact, these figures were all real. They were all Yuan Haoge's real body. He was shuttling through the void and walking in different spaces. This move was a move he used in different spaces. Chaos Finger. Facing this move, Lu Ming used the Chaos Finger of Tribulation. He extended both his hands and pointed out repeatedly. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Finger forces burst forth and each finger force pointed at a figure. Those figures exploded one by one and finally turned into one figure. After that, Yuan Haoge and Lu Ming exchanged dozens of moves, displaying the various profoundness of the spacetime law to the fullest. However, his control over time and space was not as good as Bubbles. Lu Ming protected himself with two types of nomological laws and remained unmoving, breaking all of Yuan Haoge's attacks. Yuan Haoge finally lost his patience. "I'll suppress you with my cultivation." Yuan Haoge's eyes were cold. His two-star illusionary divine cultivation was completely unleashed as he charged toward Lu Ming. Wherever he passed, spacetime storms were created, engulfing Lu Ming. A head-on confrontation? That's just what I want. Lu Ming smiled and stood there without moving. When Yuan Haoge was about to arrive, a long river of laws appeared on Lu Ming's body again. It was the river of Array Dao laws. The river of Array Dao laws fused with the laws of chaos and death, causing the river of laws that surrounded Lu Ming to turn into three colors. Lu Ming's combat strength had increased greatly after he had integrated another King Path law. Boom. He struck out with his palm, and the force of his palm was like an avalanche as it headed straight for Yuan Haoge. The spacetime storm around Yuan Haoge's body collapsed instantly. He screamed and retreated, spitting out blood. Chapter 21-24. Chapter 21-24, 5 consecutive wins. Chapter 21-24. Chapter 2124, 5 consecutive wins. As soon as Yuan Haoge retreated, Lu Ming followed suit. He approached Yuan Haoge at an alarming speed. Boom, boom, boom. In an instant, Lu Ming struck out with more than 100 palm strikes. The void exploded, and more than 100 palm prints completely enveloped Yuan Haoge from all directions, causing spacetime to be in chaos. At that moment, Yuan Haoge could not escape using the spacetime law even if he wanted to. He could only take Lu Ming's palm force head-on. He shouted in anger, activating the spacetime law and exploding with the power of the world to fight Lu Ming head-on. After more than 100 consecutive palm strikes, Yuan Haoge's body trembled violently as if he had been electrocuted. The spacetime law that covered his body was destroyed and his arm exploded. He could not resist Lu Ming's palm force. Finally, Lu Ming slapped Yuan Haoge across the face, causing him to fall to the ground and convulse. Bang! Then Lu Ming kicked Yuan Haoge's face, sending him flying off the stage. "You want to abuse me? You're not just a little bit weaker," Lu Ming said calmly. Yuan Haoge fell down from the fighting ring, his face swollen like a pig's head. It took him a long time to come to his senses. When he realized what had happened to him, he was so furious that he spat out another mouthful of blood. This time it was really embarrassing. "Brother Lu Ming, well done. Well done." Bubbles was clapping her little hands in celebration. The way many people looked at Lu Ming had changed. It was beyond many people's expectations that Lu Ming could actually defeat Yuan Haoge. That's right. He has also mastered Array Dao laws. One didn't expect him to have already cultivated 3 types of laws to perfection and even fused them together. He's indeed talented. He's not even a Saint Emperor, but he can cultivate 3 types of nomological laws. It's rare. No wonder he's so strong. Every time a law was fused, its power would increase explosively. Even many low-level Void Emperors would find it difficult to fuse 3 types of laws. Putting aside the fact that Lu Ming had mastered 2 ultimate maxims, even if he only mastered 3 ordinary maxims, his talent was shocking. Previously, Everyone thought that Lu Ming would only be able to get the 7th place and would not be able to compete with people like Heartless, Check, and Bauda. But now they had changed their minds. The fact that he could defeat Yun Haoge meant that Lu Ming's abilities were already at the level of Heartless, Cheater, Badeo, and Bubbles. They were qualified to compete for the top 5. He had yet to become a Saint Emperor, but he already had such an achievement. It was truly shocking. In this way, Lu Ming achieved 4 consecutive victories. In the second match of the 4th round, Bubbles was up against the unscrupulous monk. I have no hair. Little guy, you and I are really fated. In the fighting ring, the heartless monk looked at Bubbles seriously and almost drooled. This was one of the top 10 war beasts. The unscrupulous monk's heart was burning with passion. Monk, it seems like you're looking for a beating. Pow Pow could not be bothered to waste her breath on the unscrupulous monk. This was what Lu Ming had taught her. She would attack the unscrupulous monk whenever she saw him. Little guy, you and I are really fated. The unscrupulous monk shouted. He didn't hesitate to attack. His entire body was covered in Buddhist light. Those who didn't understand the unscrupulous monk would really be deceived by his appearance and think that he was an eminent monk. Bubbles did not dare to be careless. He immediately transformed into his true form and controlled spacetime to travel. The spacetime spirit rat was already very powerful, and its control over time and space was far above Yun Haoge's. This exchange was extremely strange because the unscrupulous monk could not hit Bubbles at all. No matter how he used his Buddhist kingdom palm, Buddhist lion's roar, Buddhist giant palm imprint, and other divine arts, he could not do anything to Bubbles. Instead, he was sometimes ambushed by Bubbles and was flustered. In the end, he was sent flying out of the fighting stage by Bubbles. Monk, you're really thick-skinned. Bubbles pursed her lips. The bubble could only send the monk flying out of the fighting ring because the monk's golden body of Buddha had an extremely strong defense. The bubble could not break through it. Of course, it would be a different story if Pow Pow's cultivation level had improved and she was on the same level as the unscrupulous monk. The third match of the 4th round, Yuan XN versus Check. This was another pinnacle battle, the Son of Chaos versus the primordial demonic Tao. Aoku transformed into a purple gold true dragon that was 1,000 meters long. Purple light flowed all over his body, and his dragon claws tore through the void. He displayed the magical power of the demon race and fought with Yuan Xian. However, although Cheek was very strong, he was still a little weaker than Yuan Xian. Yuan Xian had used 2 nomological laws and defeated Cheek. Then Tianming versus Heng Xinghe. There was no suspense. Heng Xinghe directly admitted defeat. And in the 5th match, Bauda fought against Ancient Devil. Without a doubt, Bauda won. The 4th round ended, and not long after, the 5th round began. The first match of the 5th round, Lu Ming versus Check. Pinker's eyes were solemn. The strength that Lu Ming had displayed earlier was enough to threaten him. Hence, Pinker used all his strength as soon as he made his move. He transformed into a purple gold true dragon and pounced at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body glowed, and a shocking dragon's roar came from within. It made Aoke's body tremble and his expression changed drastically. 9 dragons, Creek's expression was a little ugly. In a battle between experts, every second counted. Creek was slightly stunned, but Lu Ming had already rushed over, erupting with the Chaos Law, Death Law, and Array Dao Law. The 3 laws combined into one and unleashed a storm of attacks, suppressing Creek. Creek barely managed to block dozens of moves and was blasted off the fighting ring by Lu Ming. Lu Ming won. This made many people re-evaluate Lu Ming's combat ability. They thought that he already had the strength to compete for the top 3. I'm afraid Lu Ming can fight with Bauda. However, compared to Yuan Xian and Tianming, he's still a little weaker. That's right. If there are no accidents, he should be hovering between 3rd and 4th place. Some people discussed and re-evaluated the rankings. The first match of the 5th round had ended, and the second match was Bubbles versus Yuan Xian. This battle was extremely intense. In her true form, Pow Pow had pushed her space-time laws to their limits, making them unpredictable. However, Yuan Xian was indeed powerful. Just like how Lu Ming had fought Yun Haoge previously, he had used his powerful strength to break the space-time law. Ultimately, Bubbles did not win this battle. After exchanging many moves, seeing that he was at a disadvantage, he simply admitted defeat. The third match was Heartless versus Ancient Devil. Heartless won. After that, Tianming and Bauda won respectively. After entering the 6th round, the atmosphere became lively in the 1st round. This was because in the 1st round, Lu Ming was fighting against Bauda. In the eyes of most people, Lu Ming and Bauda were at the same level and they were the most powerful candidates to fight for the 3rd place. Whoever won this round would get third place. Lu Ming, you're impressive. You're not a Saint Emperor yet, but you already have such combat power. I old Bao admire you. However, I'm sure 111 win this round. Bao grinned. His eyes revealed a fierce light, like a big black bear. Big guy, don't be so full of yourself. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Then let me see how powerful the fusion of two ultimate maxims is. Bao's expression was ferocious. He took a step forward and his entire body was like a mountain as he charged towards Lu Ming. With a punch, the space exploded and was compressed together, turning into a terrifying fist force that crushed toward Lu Ming. Chapter 21-25, Chapter 21-24, Defeating Bao. Chapter 21-25, Chapter 2124 Defeating Bao. The fist force whistled and the space trembled. This was pure strength. His extremely powerful physical strength was extremely shocking. An immemorial body cultivator. I'd like to see how abnormal your physical body is. Lu Ming did not dodge at all. He burst out with 3 types of laws and cast the Chaos Divine Palm, blasting it out. Thump. The palm and the fist collided with a deafening howl. The space where the two fists met was like a wave shaking. Lu Ming and Bao's bodies trembled at the same time and they retreated a few steps. What a terrifying power. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. Tyrannical virtue relied purely on the strength of the physical body. It was powerful and terrifying. That punch caused Lu Ming's 3 types of laws to shake and they were almost pierced through. Lu Ming's physical body had refined 3 wisps of chaos chi and was tempered by the river formed by 5 types of laws. It was already extremely powerful. However, it was still far from being comparable to Bao. It was said that in the Heaven Realm's immemorial era, there were great ancient body cultivators who had invincible physical bodies. They could cross the universe and stand on the ground. They could destroy the stars in the sky with a single punch. They were incredibly powerful. When one's physical body was cultivated to the extreme, it would be indestructible and immortal, existing with the heavens and earth. Again? Bao roared and charged at Lu Ming like a wild beast. His muscles swelled and his body expanded again. Come! Lu Ming shouted. 3 types of laws revolved around him, and the power of his physical body and holy power exploded to the extreme as he fought Bao. Thump, thump, thump. The 2 of them were like 2 wild beasts, constantly colliding with each other on the fighting ring. There was no technique, it was purely a head-on fight. Bao was an immemorial body cultivator. His physical body was indestructible. Even an ordinary sovereign weapon would be blown apart by Bao's punch. Lu Ming's physical body was also very strong, and his holy power was condensed and thick. Most importantly, the law of chaos was as heavy as a mountain and could suppress the world. Under the blessing of the law of chaos, Lu Ming had infinite strength. The 2 of them had similar styles. They kept colliding with each other, making the fighting ring rumble. If this was a battle outside, it would definitely be a scene of mountains collapsing and the earth cracking. How terrifying. Seeing the 2 of them fighting, many people's faces turned pale. It was too fierce. Under such power, any technique was unnecessary. Even some ultimate maxims would be torn apart. Even a 2-star illusionary emperor would be easily blown up. The 2 of them fought for over 100 rounds. Satisfying. Lu Ming let out a long howl. After an intense battle, he was becoming more and more familiar with the use of the laws, especially the laws of chaos. The laws of chaos formed a river. For the current stage it was already perfect. However, Lu Ming felt that he had yet to reach the end of the law. There was still a path ahead, but it was blocked by the fog and he could not see clearly. Now the fog had finally dispersed a little. Lu Ming had a feeling that if the law could be improved, its power would increase by leaps and bounds. Haha, one finally met a decent one. This is great. Bao also laughed, and his attacks became more and more violent. In the blink of an eye, the 2 of them had fought another 100 rounds. At this point, Lu Ming became more and more courageous as the battle progressed. He finally began to gain the upper hand and suppressed Bao until he started to defend himself. Bang, bang. In the end, Bao began to retreat. With every step he took, the fighting ring would rumble violently. Stop, stop fighting, stop fighting. At this time, Bao suddenly shouted. Lu Ming retracted his hands and retreated. Bao gasped for breath, his whole body drenched in sweat, and it took him a long time to recover. You pervert. I'll admit defeat today. Let's fight another day. Bao said. All right, sure. Lu Ming nodded. It was good for him to have a strong opponent to fight with. Bao jumped and rushed down the fighting ring. Lu Ming had won. Many people widened their eyes. Lu Ming had actually defeated Bao Da. In this case he would definitely be in the top 3. This was beyond the expectations of many people. Previously they thought that it would be good enough if Lu Ming could enter the 7th place. Now the rankings can almost be seen. Many people began to deduce the ranking based on the previous battle results. Everyone felt that the 1st and 2nd place should be between Tianming and Yuan Xn. Lu Ming would be 3rd, Bao Da would be 4th and Bubbles would be 5th. This was probably the situation for the top 5. Now everyone was looking forward to the main event, and that was the Battle of Destiny against Yuan Xin. As long as the two of them were able to determine the winner, the top 10 rankings would basically be set. You've underestimated my master. Who knows, maybe my master can defeat Yuan Xin in Tianming. Lu Xiangxiang pouted in displeasure when she heard that the people around her thought that Lu Ming could only be ranked 3rd. Hee little girl, you're really blindly confident. Your master is strong, but it's impossible for him to compete with Tianming and Yuanxin. He's definitely no match for them. We can understand the little girl's feelings of trusting her master, but you have to see the reality. A few white-haired old men kindly reminded Lu Xiangxiang. Your judgment is never accurate. You even said that my master could only get the 7th place. Lu Xiangxiang pouted. We were wrong before, but this time we're definitely not wrong. The few elders were certain. Lu Xiangxiang pouted and ignored the elders. The competition continued as Bubbles fought against Destiny. Bubbles admitted defeat immediately. According to him, he was too lazy to compete since he couldn't win anyway. After that, Aoku defeated Yun Haoge, Yuan Xn defeated Wu Liang, and Ancient Devil defeated Xing He. With that, Galaxy was already in last place, not even as good as Ancient Devil. In short, other than Lu Ming's unexpected defeat of Bao Da, the rest of the battles were within everyone's expectations. The 6th round ended and the 7th round began. The heavenly mandate is against Yuan Xin. The white-haired elder said. As soon as the voice came out, the scene fell silent, then burst into an uproar. The main show was here, the biggest main show was here. Tianming versus Yuan Xin. This seemed to have been deliberately arranged by the white-haired elder. In the previous rounds, Lu Ming would fight in the first match. Now, the first match of the 7th round was between Tianming and Yuan Xn. The atmosphere was ignited. Countless people revealed looks of anticipation. In everyone's eyes, this was a battle between the champion and the runner-up, a battle between the two strongest geniuses of the primordial realm. Tianming and Yuan Xn also emitted a strong fighting will, and their eyes met in the air. Although both of them came from the Divine Land and were known as the peerless duo of the Divine Land, they had never fought before. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with anticipation. He felt that in the previous battles, neither Tianming nor Yuan Xin had used their full strength. In this battle he would be able to see how strong they were. Buzz. Buzz. In a flash, the two of them rushed up to the fighting ring. Boom. The terrifying auras collided in the air, causing a violent boom. Just the collision of auras formed a gust of wind that swept across the fighting ring. Chapter 21-26. Fate vs. Chaos. Chapter 21-26. Fate vs. Chaos. I will defeat you in this battle and break the legend of fate. Yuan Xn said, full of confidence in herself. Fate cannot be broken. Everything in the world has a fate. Even the birth and destruction of a world have its own fate. Therefore the laws of chaos are also shrouded by fate. The heavenly mandate spoke, and his clothes were whiter than snow, untainted by dust. You can't control my fate. My fate is in my hands, not the heavens. It's not up to you to kill. Yuan Xn burst out, and his figure was like a phantom as he rushed toward Tianming. Chaotic laws filled the air, and the chaotic divine fist burst out. You are destined to be struck by lightning. Tianming spoke again as if his words were law. As he spoke, all kinds of lightning, flames, ice, poisonous water, swords and other things were thrown at Yuan Xn. Boom. Boom. Dot. Yuan Xn waved her fist, and all the lightning and flames were destroyed. Tianming, you don't need to test me. Show me your true strength. Yuan Xin strode toward Tianming. The aura of two nomological laws emanated from his body. The two nomological laws merged and he threw a punch. Boom. The fist force pressed forward, stronger than Bao Da fist force. Great fate technique. Tianming no longer tried to probe and used the divine ability of the laws of fate. He stretched out a finger and pointed it forward. A beam of light burst forth like a ray of light and a divine blade, blasting toward Yuan Xn. Boom. Yuan Xin's fist force was shattered, and the light of fate continued to blast toward Yuan Xen. Break! Yuan Xin's fists kept swinging. In an instant she had thrown hundreds of punches, shattering the space. The light of fate had been blocked and finally defeated. He blocked it. Yuan Xen is indeed powerful. Someone exclaimed. Previously, as long as Tianming used the Great Fate technique, no one could resist it and was directly defeated. Even someone as strong as Baoda couldn't block it. But now Yuan Xen had blocked the light of destiny. Perhaps Heaven's will could really go against Heaven's will. Kill? After Yuan Xen destroyed the light of fate, she took advantage of the situation to attack Tianming. No one can block the light of fate. Fight with me. Your fate is already decided. You will definitely lose. Tianming whispered as he continued to point out with his finger. In an instant, dozens of destiny lights shot out. These lights took on different shapes. Some were in the shape of swords, some were in the shape of sabers, and some were in the shape of spears. They turned into all kinds of weapons and attacked Yuan Xen. Each one of them was shockingly powerful. Yuan Xen raised her fist to block, but there were too many rays of fate light. Each one was extremely powerful. Yuan Xen was suppressed and retreated continuously. Yunshin is no match for him. The laws of fate are truly invincible. Some people sighed. If even Yuan Xen was no match for him, then who else could be Tianming's match? No, Yuan Xen can still fight. He's about to explode. Someone shouted. Boom. At this moment, Yuan Xin's aura rose sharply again. His cultivation base was still at the peak of the 2-star Void Emperor realm, but his aura had truly skyrocketed. Chaotic divine body. Yuan Xen roared. The endless chaos laws between heaven and earth gathered toward Yuan Xen. His body was undergoing a strange change and turned gray, as if his physical body had become a chaos stone. Yes, it was a chaos gem. When Ming used the chaos divine palm, his palm would turn gray like a chaos gem. And now Yuan Xin's body had become like this. This was a terrifying secret technique. Boom. Boom. Yuan Xin's body seemed to have really turned into an indestructible rock of chaos. He kept punching out with his fists, destroying all the rays of fate that were bombarding him. For the first time, Tianming's eyes showed a hint of solemnness. His body glowed with a myriad of rays of light. He pointed his finger continuously, and the light of fate continued to burst out, blasting toward Yuan Xen. However, Yuan Xin's chaotic body had greatly increased his battle strength. Each punch could destroy a light of fate, and he charged toward Tianming, approaching him at an extreme speed. Everyone was shocked. Could it be that Yuan Xen was really going to change her fate, defy the heavens and defeat the heavens today? Under everyone's shocked gazes, Yuan Xen approached Tianming and punched out, penetrating Tianming's chest. However, Tianming's body was like an illusion. It was like nothing happened. Fate has determined that I will not be defeated. No matter what you do, it is useless. River of Fate, come out. Tianming spoke, and a huge river appeared under his feet. This was not because his nomological laws had reached perfection and formed a long river, but because it was the legendary River of Fate. The fate of all living things in the world, everyone's fate, was in the River of Fate. Everyone's fate was already determined from birth. Tianming stood in the River of Fate, as if he was the master of heaven and earth. Boom. Boom. Yuan Xen kept swinging his fists trying to break through the River of Fate. However, when his fist force hit the River of Fate, it was like a stone sinking into the sea. Everything in the world is in the River of Destiny, and you are no exception, Yunshin. Tianming spoke and stretched out a hand. He grabbed at the River of Fate and a figure appeared. Everyone was shocked because the figure that Tianming had grabbed from the River of Fate was exactly the same as Yuan Xen, but it could be seen that it was just an illusion. You are destined to be defeated. Tianming whispered and pointed out a finger. A beam of light burst out and hit the phantom, leaving a big hole in the chest of the phantom. At this moment, Yuan Xin's body trembled violently as if he had suffered a terrifying attack. He tried his best to resist, but in the end he was forced to retreat more than 10 steps. Everyone saw a bloody hole appear in his chest and blood was flowing out. The crowd gasped. The law of fate was too strange. Tianming had only grabbed an image that looked exactly like Yuan Xen from the River of Fate. When he attacked the image, Yuan Xen had actually been injured. Those who defy fate will be punished. Tianming continued to speak and pointed out with his finger again. The illusionary figure was pierced through again. Yuan Xin's body trembled violently and he retreated continuously. Another wound appeared on his body. The scene was silent. This was too strange. Furthermore, the heavenly mandate was too strong. Who could match such strength? Then Tianming continued to attack. Every time he attacked, Yuan Xn had to retreat, and a wound appeaed on her body. In the end, Yuan Xn spat out a mouthful of blood and was seriously injured. Alright, this battle ends here. Yinxing, you've lost. At this time, the white-haired old man stood up and stopped the duel. He was afraid that Yuan Xin's injuries would be too serious and affect the later battles. Yuan Xin was a little unwilling. In the end, she gritted her teeth and left the fighting ring. He knew that he had lost. He was no match for Tianming and could not be number one in the world. I'm not strong enough yet. I want to be stronger. Legend has it that the Chaos Scripture records all kinds of terrifying superpowers based on the Chaos laws. I must get them. Yuan Xin was unwilling to give up. She looked at Lu Ming with a murderous look. As long as he could get the Chaos Scripture, he would be able to defeat Tianming and become the number one in the world. Chapter 21-27. Lu Ming vs. Yuan Xin. Chapter 21-27. Lu Ming vs. Yuan Xin. Tianming is number one in the world, no one can rival him. The ranking is pretty much clear. Tianming is first and Yuan Xin is second. It's a pity that Lu Ming is only an emperor to be. If he becomes an emperor, he might be able to compete with Tianming. There aren't so many ifs. Tianming is ahead by one step and he will only become stronger in the future. I'm afraid Lu Ming will never be Tianming's match. The crowd discussed. In the end, someone who was hostile to Lu Ming spoke up and deliberately belittled Lu Ming, causing Lu Xiangxiang, Pao Pao and the others to glare at him. In the 7th round, after the battle between Tianming and Yuan Xin, the following battles were not too surprising. Those who were expected to win had all won. Lu Ming had also won. He had no conscience in this battle. The unscrupulous monk dawdled for a long time. After exchanging a few moves with Lu Ming, he directly admitted defeat. Lu Ming, you're a freak. I thought that one could suppress you after so many years. One didn't expect that I'm still not your match. The unscrupulous monk had a bitter expression. Hey, what are you saying? What do you mean by abnormal? This is my talent, understand? Lu Ming cast a sidelong glance at him. My hair. Wu Liang stopped talking and stepped aside. After the 7th round ended, the white-haired old man let everyone rest for 3 days. They would fight again after 3 days. This was because some people like Yuan Xin were injured, which would affect their combat strength. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye, and everyone had recovered to their peak states. Lu Ming against Yuan Xin. As soon as the 8th round began, the white-haired old man released the most important battle. To be honest, everyone was looking forward to this match. This was because this was a battle between the two sons of chaos, and it was also a battle between the 2nd and 3rd place. Most of them thought that Lu Ming would not be Yuan Xin's match because the abilities that Yuan Xin had displayed previously were too shocking. But after all, it was a battle between two sons of chaos, which was a rare sight. Yuan Xin's eyes were filled with a fiery light as she stepped onto the fighting ring. Lu Ming also stepped onto the fighting ring. Lu Ming, this time, it'll make you lose miserably. Yuan Xn glared at Lu Ming with a cold gaze. I'm sorry, but one have to tell you something. No one has ever been able to surpass me after being defeated by me, not even you. Lu Ming smiled faintly. What? Everyone was stunned. What did Lu Ming mean by this? Could it be that Lu Ming had defeated Yuan Xin in the past? How was this possible? Very quickly, news spread that Lu Ming and Yuan Xin had a battle during the Hunyuan sex assessment. Yuan Xin had lost that battle. Everyone was surprised that such a thing had happened. It seemed that the two sons of chaos had a grudge against each other. Back then I was only suppressed. If one wasn't suppressed, one would have suppressed you with a flip of my hand. Lu Ming, hand over the chaos scripture. You're not qualified to wield it. Yuan Xin's face was cold. If I don't have the right, do you? You want the chaos scripture? Sure. Why don't we make a bet? Lu Ming sneered. What are we betting on? Yuan Xin said coldly. Let's bet on this battle. If I lose, I'll give you the chaos scripture. If you lose, you'll listen to me for the rest of your life. How about it? Lu Ming said. I won't bet with you. Yuan Xin said coldly. You dare not? Are you afraid of losing? Lu Ming said. I won't lose. I want the chaos scripture. I'll just defeat you and take it from you. Yuan Xin was very confident. After he finished speaking, he did not say anything else and walked toward Lu Ming. Boom. A powerful aura burst out of his body, and the laws of chaos and another law permeated the air. It was a king path law, but it wasn't very mature yet. However, it still strengthened Yuan Xin's combat strength. Chaos Divine Fist. Yuan Xian made his move. He swung his fists continuously and the void rumbled. With every punch he threw, a huge mountain would form, crushing down on Lu Ming. This was a mountain formed from the laws of chaos, and it was extremely powerful. Boom. Lu Ming moved as well. 3 types of laws burst out and went against the flow. He used the Chaos Divine Palm and struck out several times in a row. Bang, bang. Each palm could shatter a mountain. The mountains evolved from the laws of chaos exploded in the air. Chaos Finger. After crushing a few mountains, Lu Ming cast the Chaos Finger of Tribulation again. A huge Chaos Finger of Tribulation formed and crushed toward Yuan Xian. Yuan Xian threw a few punches and destroyed the Chaos Finger of Tribulation. However, at this moment, Lu Ming had already arrived. He struck out with the Chaos Divine Palm in succession, and in an instant he had struck out hundreds of palms. Yuan Xian waved his fist and fought with Lu Ming. The 2 figures moved unhindered as they engaged in a great battle. For a time it was difficult to determine the victor. The laws of chaos pervaded the entire stage. Yuan Xian was very strong. He was a peak 2-star illusionary emperor. In terms of cultivation he was much stronger than Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming's body and saint energy had been tempered 5 times. Moreover, he had 2 ultimate maxims and 3 king path maxims. With the fusion of the 3 maxims, he had completely made up for the lack of cultivation. Lu Ming is really strong. He can actually compete with Yuan Xian. However, Yuan Xian still has a secret skill that he hasn't used yet. Lu Ming is destined to lose. Someone spoke up and acknowledged Lu Ming's combat strength. However, he felt that Lu Ming would still lose. Yuanxin, bring out your strongest combat power. This is not enough, Lu Ming said in the middle of the battle. Since you want to experience it, I'll crush you. Chaotic Divine Body. Yuan Xian let out a long roar and the laws of chaos boiled. His body seemed to have turned into a chaos stone. After performing this secret skill, Yuan Xin's combat strength increased greatly. He threw a punch and clashed with Lu Ming. Bang. Lu Ming felt his arm go numb and he could not help but take 5 to 6 steps back. Bang. Bang. Yuan Xian took advantage of the situation to pursue and attack. She kept punching out with both fists, forcing Lu Ming to retreat. Lu Ming, you're no match for me. Hand over the chaos scripture. Yuan Xian shouted and his attacks were wild. Why are you so anxious? It seems that against you, 3 types of laws are still a bit lacking. Then 4 types of laws it is. As he spoke, another river of laws flowed out of Lu Ming's body and fused with the 3 types of laws from before. The next moment, a 4-colored river of laws appeared on Lu Ming's body. After merging with one more law, Lu Ming's combat strength increased greatly. He struck out with his palm and exchanged a blow with Yuan Xian. Both of their bodies trembled violently and they retreated. However, Lu Ming took 2 steps back while Yuan Xian took 4 steps back for types of laws. Lu Ming has actually comprehended 4 types of laws. My god, it's the law of devouring. 2 supreme laws and 2 king path laws. This is really heaven-defying. This is too terrifying. Everyone was shocked and someone shouted. The main reason was that it was too shocking. Previously, Lu Ming had not used his full strength and had held back. Not only had he mastered 2 ultimate maxims, but he had also comprehended 2 other king path maxims, both of which had been perfected. How old was Lu Ming? How did he cultivate? Many people couldn't stay calm and even many emperors were dumbfounded. Chapter 21-28, The Final Peak Showdown. Chapter 21-28, The Final Peak Showdown. Master is invincible. Shizhuan will definitely win. Lu Xiangxiang and Ouyang Moli shouted in excitement. Luo Qianni, Feng Ling Longqin, and the others were also dumbfounded. Although they knew that Lu Ming was abnormal, they did not expect him to be so abnormal. What a freak. Do you want me to live? The unscrupulous monk's face became even more bitter. How is that possible? How is this possible? Those who had a grudge against Lu Ming, such as the Heng family, the He family, the Daluo Heaven sect, the Wan family, the Golden Crow clan, and other forces, widened their eyes in disbelief and fear. The more powerful Lu Ming was, the more frightened they were. Yuan Xian herself was also extremely shocked. He had also comprehended a second type of nomological law and knew how difficult it was to comprehend other nomological laws. It would be even more difficult to fuse them together. He had only succeeded in that world. However, not only did Lu Ming control 2 ultimate maxims, but he had also comprehended 2 other king path maxims. He had comprehended 4 of them in total and had perfected them. He had fused them together. This was simply unbelievable. Even with his intelligence he was still shocked. So what if you have 4 types of laws? They'll still defeat you. Yuan Xn let out a long howl and charged toward Lu Ming with an imposing aura. His body glowed with a dark light as if he was made of chaos stone. He was firm and immortal. Bang! Lu Ming stepped forward and used the Chaos Divine Palm to confront Yuan Xn. Bang! Bang! The fighting ring shook again. In an instant the two had exchanged more than 50 moves. However, Lu Ming's combat strength had already surpassed Yuan Xin's after he used 4 types of laws. The more laws he fused, the stronger the power would be, multiplying it. After more than 50 moves, Yuan Xin was completely at a disadvantage. She was forced to retreat by Lu Ming. Yuan Xin was indignant. He roared and fought Lu Ming fearlessly. He couldn't lose. This time it was different from the Hunyuan sect's assessment. This time it was a real battle. They used all their combat strength without holding back. It was also a battle between the Sons of Chaos. If he lost to Lu Ming, he would definitely not be able to obtain the inheritance of the Chaos Thearch. Moreover, he would have to live in Lu Ming's shadow for the rest of his life. This would be a fatal blow to his martial path. Lu Ming, one won't lose if you can't break my chaotic divine body. Yuan Xin roared. You're thinking too much. Lu Ming waved his palm continuously and pushed Yuan Xin back. He then hit Yuan Xin's chest with his palm. Boom. Yuan Xin's body trembled violently, and she was forced to retreat. Her face turned pale and she almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Then Lu Ming continued to swing his palm upwards. In an instant he struck out hundreds of palm strikes, and the palm prints enveloped Yuan Xin's entire body. Yuan Xin tried his best to resist, but the palm prints still hit him. Bang! Bang! Yuan Xin's body trembled continuously. In the end, cracks actually appeared on his body as if he was about to split apart. He vomited a mouthful of blood as his body was sent flying and he fell heavily on the fighting ring. He was defeated. Yuan Xin had been defeated. The entire place was silent. Not many people had expected this outcome before the battle. Most of the people had always thought that Tianming was first, Yuan Xin was second, and Lu Ming would be third at most. It was impossible for him to be a match for the first 2. But now Lu Ming had defeated Yuan Xin. His next opponent was only destiny. Master is invincible. Lu Xiangxiang shouted excitedly. Then she looked at the few elders not far away and said, One told you my master is invincible. No one is his match. The old men's faces turned red. Previously they had said that Lu Xiangxiang was blindly confident and wanted her to see the reality that Lu Ming was no match for Yuan Xin and Tianming. But now Lu Ming had defeated Yuan Xin. Even though the few old men had lived for many years, they couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. Uncle Kong and Emperor Notionless also smiled. Lu Ming's progress had far exceeded their expectations. Do you still want to fight? Lu Ming stepped forward and walked toward Yuan Xin. I didn't lose, one won't lose to you. Yuan Xin howled wildly, extremely unwilling to give up. He rushed up again and charged toward Lu Ming. However, he was already injured. How could he be Lu Ming's match? After a few moves he was sent flying again. His body was about to crack and his body was covered in cracks, oozing blood. With Lu Ming's current abilities, he could shatter the void with one palm and destroy a mountain that was 100,000 feet tall. The power was shocking. It was already very shocking that his Yuan Xin could survive so many palm strikes. Yuan Xin roared angrily and wanted to fight again, but the white-haired old man stepped down from the sky and stopped him. You've already lost. You may leave. The white-haired elder said. Yuan Xin finally stopped and looked at Lu Ming with extreme unwillingness. Her eyes were flickering with cold killing intent. After today's defeat you will never be my match. Also, you are not worthy of controlling the chaos scripture. Lu Ming cast a nonchalant glance at Yuan Xin and turned to leave. Yuan Xin's body trembled and she spat out another mouthful of blood. After that, the competition continued. However, the following matches were all within everyone's expectations. There was nothing surprising. Everyone was looking forward to the final round. The 9th round, the last round. After this round, each of the 10 of them had fought against the other 9. In the 9th round, Lu Ming would be going against Destiny. Before this, no one had any expectations for this battle. They thought that Tianming would definitely win. However, after Lu Ming defeated Yuan Xin, everyone changed their minds. At the very least, Lu Ming had defeated Yuan Xin and was qualified to compete with Destiny. After the 8th round ended, they rested for a while, and the 9th round began immediately. In the last round, the white-haired elder seemed to have intentionally left the battle between Lu Ming and Tianming to the end. Everyone was itching to fight, but they could only wait for the previous battles to end. There were no surprises in the previous battles. By the time the previous matches were over, everyone already knew the ranking this time. Other than the first and second place, which were still unknown, the rest of the rankings had already been confirmed. Third place Yuan Xian. He only lost to Lu Ming and Tianming. Fourth place Bauda. Fifth place Bubbles. Sixth place Unscrupulous Monk. Seventh place Check. In eighth place Yun Haoge. Ninth place Ancient Devil. 10th place Star River. In the Star River, he had lost all 9 battles and had not won a single one. He had made his expression extremely unsightly. Especially when he saw the last battle between Lu Ming and Tianming, his face turned even gloomier. At this point, Lu Ming had already left him far behind. The last battle, Tianming against Lu Ming. The white-haired old man finally announced the names of the two people. Countless people's hearts were in their throats. It was finally the final battle. This battle would determine who was the strongest heaven's favorite among the primordial realm's younger generation. Was it Lu Ming or Destiny? One had yet to become a sovereign, but he had already mastered 2 supreme laws and 2 King Dao laws. This was unprecedented. The other was the rare child of Destiny who controlled fate and was unparalleled in the world. Who was stronger? Chapter 21-29. Chapter 21-29, Great Battle against Tianming? Chapter 21-29. Chapter 2129 Great Battle against Tianming. 2 figures appeared in the air and landed on the fighting ring, attracting everyone's attention. Tianming, dressed in white, was shrouded in a mysterious light, like a banished immortal descending to the mortal world, untainted by dirt. With a faint smile, he looked at Lu Ming and said, "You are very strong, but you are still destined to lose." "Bullshit. I control my own fate. No one can control my fate. If anyone can, I'll crush them all." Lu Ming was extremely overbearing. He didn't believe in the so-called fate, that his destiny was in his own hands, not the heavens. Only when one was strong enough could one change or even reverse fate. The people before didn't believe it either. They thought that they could go against fate, but in the end they couldn't escape fate. Tianming didn't get angry and said indifferently, as if he was in control of everything, "Oh, then have you seen your fate? The fate of being beaten up by me until you become a pig's head?" Lu Ming smiled faintly. "My fate has already been decided. I won't lose." The heavenly mandates whisper. "Then I'll change my fate and let you lose once." Boom. 4 types of laws burst out from Lu Ming's body. The 4 types of laws fused. Lu Ming's body was like a cannonball, smashing toward Tianming. "You are destined to be injured," Tianming said softly and pointed with his finger. There was no energy fluctuation, but at this moment, Lu Ming's hair stood on end and his pupils constricted. He felt a terrifying force bombarding him and crushing him. Bus. Lu Ming shook the law and the 4 types of laws converged to form a 4-colored river of laws. It surrounded his body and blocked the strange energy attack. Is this the law of fate? It's just a type of law. Although it's mysterious and strange, it can't really decide a person's fate. It still needs energy to attack. Lu Ming had some understanding of the law of fate. Boom. Lu Ming burst out and broke through the energy attacks in one fell swoop. He then charged toward Tianming. "Tianming, don't mess with these useless things. Use your divine ability," Lu Ming said. His figure was like lightning as he rapidly approached the heavenly mandate realm. "As you wish, great fate spell." The light on Tianming's body became even more intense. His figure was almost invisible as he was covered by the light. He pointed his finger and a ray of fate light turned into a combat sword, slashing toward Lu Ming. Bus. Lu Ming also pointed a finger and cast the chaos finger of tribulation. An extremely condensed finger force burst forth and destroyed the light of fate. However, the destiny finger pointed out continuously. Beams of light of fate turned into various weapons and attacked Lu Ming. These weapons were extremely powerful and had terrifying killing power. Tianming's cultivation base was also at the peak of 2-star illusionary emperor, but his battle strength was absolutely amazing. Each ray of fate light could kill an ordinary 2-star illusionary emperor in seconds, and even an ordinary 3-star illusionary emperor in seconds. Lu Ming circulated the law and covered his palm. He used the chaos divine palm and struck out continuously. Bang, bang, bang. The rays of fate light were destroyed by Lu Ming and dissipated like fireworks. Lu Ming was valiant and invincible. He continuously destroyed the light of fate that was attacking him. His figure was approaching Tianming at an extremely fast speed. In the end, Lu Ming broke through the barrier and pointed his finger. A chaotic finger of tribulation shot toward Tianming. Tianming's pupils constricted. A river of fate formed under his feet, and he was in the middle of it. However, Lu Ming's current attack power was stronger than Yuan Xin's. The finger of tribulation of chaos crushed over, shaking the river of fate. Everything is shrouded by the river of fate. Lu Ming, you shall be defeated. Tianming let out a long cry and grabbed out a figure from the river of fate. That figure looked exactly like Lu Ming, but it looked illusory. It was struggling in the hands of destiny as if Lu Ming's fate was really in the control of destiny. Whoosh. He pointed out the finger of destiny, and a ray of light pierced through the body of the shadow. At the same time, a terrifying force appeared out of thin air and blasted toward Lu Ming, trying to penetrate his body. Lu Ming roared loudly. The 4 types of power of law shook continuously to block that force. Bang! Bang! The 4 types of nomological laws were constantly shaking and breaking down bit by bit. The power was too ancient and terrifying. No one knew where it came from. Even the fusion of 4 types of nomological laws was difficult to resist. Bang! In the end, Lu Ming retreated frantically and the 4 types of laws were pierced through. However, after the force pierced through the 4 types of laws, he was almost offset. It only left a shallow mark on Lu Ming's body and he was not injured. Lu Ming is going to lose, however, it's enough to show how terrifying Lu Ming is. Yuan Xn was no match for this move and was seriously injured. However, Tianming's move is too terrifying. Seeing that Lu Ming was forced to retreat, everyone guessed that the final winner of this battle would be Tianming. Some of the forces that had a grudge against Lu Ming secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Lu Ming was not that heaven-defying. Fate cannot be defied. The heavenly mandate spoke. He stood in the river of fate as if he was about to turn into a deity. Whoosh, whoosh. He pointed out 2 fingers in a row and pierced through the shadow in his hand. At the same time, Lu Ming suffered a terrifying attack. The laws trembled and Lu Ming retreated rapidly. However, he was blocked in the end and was not injured. Bullshit. Lu Ming took a step forward and charged toward Tianming. Tianming continued to attack with his fingers, and the force of his fingers pierced through the shadow. Lu Ming encountered a terrible attack. There were several terrible forces attacking him. Boom. Lu Ming was sent flying a few hundred meters. His body trembled and he felt his qi and blood churning. Lu Ming, I admit that you're a rare genius. However, it's difficult for you to defy the heavens. You can't resist fate. Tianming coldly spoke, his voice high and mighty. You're so confident, is this all you've got? Lu Ming sneered. What? Tianming frowned. How can you defeat me with this little bit of strength? You can't hurt me now. Lu Ming said. Many people were shocked. It was true. Tianming could only force Lu Ming back but not severely injure him. Lu Ming could use his strong defense to stall for time and make it difficult to determine the winner of this match. Tianming's face darkened. His body glowed with multicolored light and he struck out with his fingers continuously. However, he could only repel Lu Ming but not hurt him. Is this your limit? Then today let me break fate. Lu Ming let out a long howl. His body was like lightning as he rushed toward Tianming. Boom. In the process of charging out, the aura on his body became stronger, and the 4-colored river of laws turned into 5 colors. With this, the entire scene was ignited. Oh my god, 5 colors, 5 laws. Lu Ming has mastered 5 laws. Am I seeing things? It's true. It's too terrifying. There's no limit. How is this possible? Everyone was shocked. Previously, Lu Ming had displayed 4 types of laws, which was already shocking enough. Everyone guessed that that was most likely Lu Ming's limit. But now, Lu Ming had displayed 5 types of laws. What was his limit? Chapter 2130, Chapter 2131, Breaking Fate. Chapter 2130, Chapter 2131 Breaking Fate. Lu Ming revealed 5 types of laws. The fusion of the 5 types of laws caused a commotion. Many people could not remain calm. Lu Ming had no limits. Now there were 5, but no one was sure if he would reveal 6 later. Lu Xiangxiang and Ouyang Mua were so excited that they jumped up and down. Bus. Lu Ming crossed the void and was close to his destiny in an instant. Tianming's pupils contracted, his eyes extremely serious. His body was almost fused with the river of fate, becoming illusory. At the same time he continuously pointed at the shadow. This time he pointed at the center of the shadow's eyebrows. The shadow's glabella was pierced through. Lu Ming, who was charging at him, encountered a terrifying attack. An extremely sharp force attacked Lu Ming's glabella. However, now that Lu Ming had fused 5 types of laws, his combat strength had increased greatly. The laws vibrated and blocked the force. Then Lu Ming struck out with his palm and bombarded the incoming force. Boom. A deafening boom erupted and the void trembled continuously. The force that was used to attack Lu Ming was very shocking, but it was still defeated by Lu Ming. Eat my finger and see. One Lu Ming charged forward and pointed his finger at the same time. The energy of heaven and earth exploded, forming a giant chaotic finger of tribulation that crushed toward the Destiny River. Voila! This time, the River of Fate couldn't resist the power of the finger of tribulation of chaos. The river was rolling and shaking and thousands of waves were raised. Boom! 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 As the finger of tribulation of chaos pressed down, the River of Fate seemed to be on the verge of collapsing. At this moment, the entire stadium was silent. Many people didn't even dare to breathe loudly. This was because they knew that this was the most crucial moment. It was the moment where victory and defeat would be decided. Who would win? River of Fate / Tianming howled. He was absorbing the power of the River of Fate, turning into a ray of light and slashing at the finger of tribulation. Boom. A deafening explosion occurred in the sky. The light from the heavens blocked the chaos finger of tribulation and dissipated. Again? Lu Ming pointed a few more times. Endless energy gathered and a total of 3 fingers of tribulation of chaos blasted toward Tianming. Tianming could only try his best to resist. The situation had been completely reversed. Just now, when Tianming cast the River of Fate, Lu Ming was at a disadvantage. But now Tianming was at a disadvantage again. The situation changed rapidly. Boom, boom, boom. With another 3 rumbles, the 3 fingers of tribulation were blocked, but Tianming's figure retreated rapidly. The River of Fate shook and the light became a little dim. You've broken through my defense. Tianming roared. You're still so confident even now. Till break your confidence then. Lu Ming stepped in the air and clenched his fist. A huge sword light condensed in the air. The Sword of Death. This was a killing move that Lu Ming had created himself. It contained 4 types of laws: death, devour, array Dao and extremity. This wasn't a simple fusion of laws. Instead, it was a magical power technique that was constructed by unleashing the various uses of the 4 laws. This kind of sacred art was much more powerful than the simple fusion of laws. Although Lu Ming could only unleash the magical effects of the 4 types of laws at RHE initial stage, he could nor stop it. This divine power had become one of Lu Ming's strongest killing moves. Slash! Lu Ming shouted and slashed his sword. This sword directly cut open the void and cut RHE heavenly fate. Tianming tried his best to block it, but Ir was useless. His River of Fate trembled madly and was cut in 2 by the Sword of Death. Then it exploded. Tianming retreated and spat out a mouthful of blood. The blood stained his snow-white robe. Tianming had been injured. The River of Fate had been broken, and he had suffered heavy injuries. Whoosh, whoosh. Lu Ming did not stop. He used the finger of tribulation of chaos and pointed at Tianming with several huge fingers. Tianming had not been thrown out of the battle stage, nor had he admitted defeat. The battle had not ended. Tianming was unwilling to give up and tried his best to resist. However, he had been severely injured and his combat strength had weakened. Moreover, the River of Fate had been cut off. He could not fight against Lu Ming at all. After a few moves, he was sent flying 100 miles away. He spat out a large mouthful of blood and his face was pale. He had already been sent flying out of the fighting ring. You've lost. Lu Ming stood in the middle of the fighting ring and spoke indifferently. He was defeated. The heavenly mandate had lost. The audience was silent at first, but when they came to their senses, they were in an uproar. Lu Ming is really heaven-defying. He defeated Tianming with his emperor-to-be Cultivation. The legend of the law of fate has been broken. Fate can be broken and man can conquer nature. The scene was in an uproar. No one had expected that destiny would be defeated by Lu Ming. Lu Ming had defeated Tianming and stood at the peak. In the beginning, no one thought highly of Lu Ming. When they found out that Lu Ming had not broken through to the martial supreme realm, they were even ridiculed by Muyang. At that time, no one would have thought that Lu Ming would be able to enter the top 10. No one would have expected that Lu Ming would come in first. My master is invincible. I knew my master was invincible. Lu Xiangxiang jumped up in excitement, not forgetting to look at RHE elders nearby. The few elders were also dazed. When they saw Lu Xiangxiang's eyes, they could nor help but blush. Young master is so amazing. Qiu Yu's face was full of smiles. Huang Ling, Long Qin, Luo Tianyi, Ouyang Wushuang, and the others were also smiling. The death blade looked at Lu Ming in silence. On the other hand, Heng Xingha's face was extremely gloomy and even had a trace of fear. Lu Ming's combat strength had exceeded his imagination. If Lu Ming had used his full strength, he could have killed him in one move. Brother Wuxiang, Brother Kong, Brother Heng, Brother He, I heard that this Lu Ming came from Mount Yuan. I didn't expect that Mount Yuan would produce such a heaven's favorite. Congratulations. Some of the great emperors congratulated Uncle Kong, Emperor Formless, the great emperors of the Hung clan and the He clan. Ha ha ha. Uncle Kong and Emperor Notionless laughed heartily. Great emperors He and Hung snorted coldly with extremely gloomy expressions. They could not wait to slap Lu Ming to death. It would be strange if they looked happy when other people congratulated them. How did this happen? The ones with the ugliest expressions were Rhe Heng family, the He family, and of course the Guyu Holy Land's Golden Crow clan, the Wan family, and other forces. Their faces turned pale. Lu Ming's talent was too terrifying. If Lu Ming continued to grow, they would all be annihilated in the future. When they thought of this, they were terrified. Damn it. Yuan Xian bellowed. He was not willing to accept that Lu Ming had actually gotten first place. Tianming was also unwilling to give up. His eyes flashed sharply, but he eventually calmed down. Alright, Rhe Battle of the 10 Lands has ended. The white-haired old man walked out and said with a smile. Now, I will announce Rhe names of the top 10 in Rhe Battle of the 10 Lands. First place Lu Ming. Second place Tianming. Third place Yuan Xian. Then the white-haired old man announced the rankings. Chapter 2131. People from the Heaven Realm? Chapter 2131. People from the Heaven Realm. Earth-shattering cheers rang out in the venue. Without a doubt, Lu Ming was the center of attention. The Battle of the 10 Lands gathered all the paragons of the entire primordial realm. Furthermore, this generation was known as the Golden Age. Many paragons emerged and strong cultivators gathered. Many sons of heaven were reduced to mere foils, attracting worldwide attention. Lu Ming, on the other hand, stood on top of all the paragons and fought at the peak. He used his abilities to prove to everyone that he was the strongest. He's already so terrifying even before becoming a Saint Emperor. His future is limitless. With such heaven-defying talent, if he continues to grow, he'll probably become the strongest person in the world. Most of the people were discussing Lu Ming. However, Yuan Xian and Tianming were ignored. The Son of Destiny and the Son of Chaos were originally brilliant and dazzling, attracting the attention of the world. But at this moment, all the brilliance was snatched away by a single person. Brother Lu Ming, you're really amazing. The bubble hung on Lu Ming's body, reluctant to come down. Master is so powerful. Lu Xiangxiang and Ouyang Moli also came over and looked at Lu Ming with admiration. In their eyes, Lu Ming was invincible. Lu Ming, congratulations. Huang Ling, Long Qin, and the rest also came over to congratulate Lu Ming. To be honest, it was beyond their expectations that Lu Ming could defeat Tianming. Everyone, this matter isn't over yet. Now it's time to give you your rewards. At this time, the white-haired old man's voice rang out again, and the scene suddenly became quiet. That's right, all those who had passed the selection before had been rewarded and could enter that corner of the world to obtain great opportunities. What about now? How could there be no reward? At the very least, the rewards for the top 10 would definitely be shocking. Especially the first place. Many people looked envious as they looked at the white-haired old man, trying to guess what the reward was. However, there was no doubt that the rewards would definitely be more generous than the previous screening. The reward this time is a little special. You'll have to wait for a while. You'll know when the time comes. The white-haired elder came to an ancient altar on the peak of Destiny Mountain. He waved his hands and beams of light entered the altar. The altar glowed with a bright light. A beam of light broke through the void and disappeared into the sky. Everyone was curious, but they didn't ask much and waited patiently. This wait lasted for 2 days. On this day, deep in the sky, there was a dull roar, and then a bright golden light covered half of the sky. Guys, look. There's a door. Someone exclaimed. In the depths of the sky, where the light was the brightest, a door suddenly appeared. This wasn't a door of light. It seemed to be made of solid bronze. Roar. The door was open, and at this moment roars could be heard from behind the door that shook the world. Dragon's roar. Many people could tell that this was the roar of a true dragon. Then, everyone saw the sound of footsteps in the air coming from the gate, and the dragon's roar was getting louder and louder. Then everyone saw 9 true dragons rush out of the gate. 9 true dragons lined up, pulling a huge chariot, and appeared in the depths of the sky. On the chariot there were many figures. Most of them were young people looking to be in their 20s. There were men and women, and each of them had an extraordinary temperament. There was a middle-aged man on the chariot. He was wearing iron armor and exuded a terrifying aura. It was the aura of a great emperor. At the highest point of the chariot sat a figure. However, this figure was shrouded in divine light and his appearance could not be seen clearly. Many people were shocked. Who was this person? It had actually appeared from the depths of the sky, and it was being pulled by 9 true dragons. There were also true dragons in Yuan Mountain. At this moment, many of them had ugly expressions. It was an insult to the true dragon clan to have 9 true dragons pulling a carriage. However, the middle-aged man's aura was too shocking. It was filled with killing intent and boundless killing intent. It was as if he was in hell. Even many emperors had serious expressions. The true dragon stepped on the air and came to the sky above the mountain of destiny, floating there. The white-haired elder and the other great emperors all came forward and cupped their fists. Greetings, emissaries of the heaven realm. What? Heaven realm emissary? Everyone was shocked. They finally understood that these people were from the heaven realm. Some great emperors might not be unfamiliar with the heaven realm, because they should have a way to enter the heaven realm. But for those below the great emperor, the heaven realm was a legend. Many powerful forces knew that there was a war in the heaven realm, but they had never been to the heaven realm. It was even more so for the younger generation. Now they finally saw the people from the heaven realm. Many people's eyes lit up as they sized up the people from the heaven realm. It's them? Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He saw 2 young men on the heaven chariot. He had seen them before. Previously, when he had entered the primordial realm, he had seen 2 youths in the corner of the world that he had left behind. The other had purple hair and an extraordinary aura. The other one was in a black robe and had mastered the law of samsara. He was a scion of samsara and had fought with Lu Ming before. These 2 people are indeed from the heaven realm. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. At this moment he thought of many things. It seemed that not only the prides of the primordial realm had entered that corner of the world, but the prides of the heaven realm had also entered. Could it be that the so-called opportunity is related to the heaven realm? The heaven realm has been passed down for countless years. It's much older than the primordial realm. Legend has it that it has endless opportunities. Some people were discussing in low voices. Although many people knew that most of the 9 heavens domain in the heaven realm had been occupied by the alien races, there was still the strongest and largest domain in the heaven realm, the Tianming heaven domain, which was still under their control. It was said that the area of the Tianming heavenly region was not smaller than the Yuan continent. It also contained all kinds of opportunities that the heaven realm had obtained over countless years. Many people's eyes lit up. Who are the top 10 prodigies of the primordial realm? Come out and take a look. The middle-aged man in iron armor stepped out and his voice spread through the entire area. Many people retreated. Lu Ming and the rest of the top 10 stepped out and appeared in the middle of the Destiny Mountain. The middle-aged man's eyes were like lightning as he swept his gaze over the 10 people. Goosebumps rose all over Lu Ming's body. It was as if the armored man's gaze could see through them. The armored man glanced around and nodded, satisfied. That's right. It said that the primordial realm is also full of prodigies and they didn't disappoint me. This time, many of you can enter the heaven realm and obtain great opportunities. The armored man said. Many people's eyes lit up. The reward this time was related to the heaven realm. General, I heard that the primordial realm has also reached its golden age, and the elites have gathered. The 10 strongest elites have been decided, and am itching to spar with them. I hope you'll grant my wish. At this time in the heaven realm, a burly young man stepped out and cupped his fists to the armored man. Chapter 2132, The Terrifying Heaven Realm's Prodigy? Chapter 2132, The Terrifying Heaven Realm's Prodigy. Many people's gazes moved. The heaven realm one's proud son of heaven was challenging the primordial realm's proud son of heaven. But thinking about it, it was normal. They were all young people, full of vigor and confidence. When they saw a strong opponent, it was inevitable that they would want to exchange pointers. The eyes of RHE primordial realm's prodigies also shone. They also wanted to know how powerful the heaven realm's geniuses were. Alright, let's have a spar then. The armored man nodded. This was their plan when they brought the Heaven Realm as prodigies here. Many thanks, General. One, the burly teenager cupped his fists and stepped forward, sweeping his gaze across Lu Ming and the other 10. He had short, needle-like hair, and his eyes were as sharp as a lion's. What I cultivate is the immemorial martial arts of the immemorial system. There should be some among you who cultivate the immemorial system, right? The short-haired teenager said as he glanced at the 10 people with a faint arrogance. Bang, bang, bang. Bao De Aoku and Ancient Devil stepped forward at the same time, their bodies erupting with powerful auras. He'll fight you, Bao De said. His body was like an iron tower filled with endless power. He's mine. One, I'm sorry, said Pinker with a cold look in his eyes. He was a royal member of RHE True Dragon clan, the Purple Gold True Dragon. However, the other party used 9 dragons to pull the carriage, which made him extremely unhappy. The short-haired teenager glanced at the 3 of them, and a faint smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. He didn't hide his contempt at all. An immemorial body cultivator, an immemorial demonic Dao, and an immemorial devil Dao. Very good. The 3 of you come at me together. The short-haired teenager said lightly, and his contempt became even stronger. What? Many people's faces changed. This short-haired teenager's tone was too arrogant. He actually asked Bao De and the other 2 to attack him together. It should be known that Bao De had won 4th place and his combat strength was extremely strong. With Pinker and Ancient Devil he could even fight Yuan Xian. This short-haired teenager had such strong combat power? Arrogant. He'll fight you. You're courting death. Creek was already furious, and now that he was being looked down on, how could he hold it in? He roared and transformed into his true form, pouncing towards the short-haired teenager. His 5 dragon claws stepped out continuously, wanting to tear the short-haired teenager apart. Boom. Edgy short-haired teenager struck out with his palm. His palm directly pierced through the void and collided with Creek's dragon claw. Creek roared, and its entire dragon body trembled violently as it retreated. Everyone saw that Creek's dragon claw had split open. It was covered in cracks and blood was flowing out. One move and Check was injured. It was shocking. Many people's gazes turned serious. This short-haired young man's combat strength was absolutely terrifying. Tianming and Yuan Xin's eyes turned serious. I said, the 3 of you attack together, or you won't be able to withstand a single blow. The short-haired young man said, his contempt growing. Then he'll fight you. Bao De roared. His burly body swelled up and he punched our. He also punched through the void. At the same time the elder devil also attacked. A beam of demonic light slashed at the other party. Aoka roared. Blood chi filled the air, and the wound on his dragon claw healed quickly. Purple gold light filled his body as he charged at the short-haired teenager. The 3 heavens favorites from the immemorial system attacked at the same time. It was earth-shattering. Haha, this is more like it. The short-haired teenager laughed. One of his palms changed as if it had turned into jade. It was so transparent that even the blood vessels in his flesh could be seen. Boom, boom, boom. Itchy short-haired teenager attacked and struck out 3 palms in a row. Bang. Ancient Devil collided with a palm print. His body shook violently and he was sent flying a few thousand meters. He coughed up blood and his aura weakened. He was seriously injured. Bang, bang. Then Pinker and Bao De also retreated. Just this much strength? Not enough more. The short-haired teenager rushed towards Bao De and Aoku, his palms continuously striking out. Bao De and Aoku tried their best to resist, but they were no match for him. The palm of the short-haired teenager seemed to have the power to split the sky. Every palm seemed to be able to split them apart. After more than 10 moves, Bao De and Aoku coughed out large mouthfuls of blood. Their arms were broken and they were seriously injured, unable to fight again. Everyone was shocked. This short-haired teenager was too terrifying. There were no nomological fluctuations on his body. It was obvious that he also cultivated the ancient system. However, he was astonishingly strong, easily defeating Bao De, Yak and Ancient Devil. He must be one of RHE Top Heaven's favorites in the Heaven Realm. Someone guessed. You guys are too weak. The short-haired teenager glanced at Bao De and the other 2, then stepped back. Bao De, Aoku and Ancient Devil's faces were ugly, but the other side was indeed powerful, which made them feel helpless and gave them a big blow. I'm here to spar with RHE Primordial Realm's prodigy. After the short-haired teenager went back, another teenager walked out from the Heaven Realm. This person was wearing a gray robe, and his eyes were as bright as RHE stars. He looked at the crowd and said, I cultivate the nomological system. Who would like to spar with me? I'll fight you. Yun Laoge was the first to speak. He stepped forward and the void around him rose and fell like waves. His 2-star illusionary divine cultivation was undoubtedly on display. Son of Spacetime 2-star illusionary emperor? How about this? I will also suppress my cultivation to 2-star illusionary emperor, the gray-robed young man said. Then a powerful aura emanated from his body. He was a 2-star void emperor. Everyone was shocked. The gray-robed young man's words were obvious. His real cultivation base was beyond that of a 2-star illusionary divine. Now he was going to fight Yun Laoge, who was at the same level as him. Since that's the case, don't regret it, Yun Laoge said. As soon as he finished speaking, he made his move. He pierced through the void and charged toward his opponent at an astonishing speed. Ichi gray-robed young man's face remained calm. At that moment, he waved his hand, causing nomological laws to erupt. A huge cauldron appeared in his hand. Primordial chaos laws. This person was a son of primordial chaos. At that moment, the cauldron in his hand was formed from primordial chaos laws. The primordial chaos cauldron quickly grew to the size of a mountain and pressed down on Yun Haoge. The primordial chaos cauldron's power was simply too astonishing. It directly crushed the void and caused spacetime to become chaotic. Boom. Wherever the primordial chaos cauldron passed by, the space exploded continuously. Yun Haoge's expression changed drastically. At that moment he felt a shocking force coming towards him. He wanted to escape but he couldn't. He could only face it head-on. He used all his strength and struck the primordial chaos cauldron. However, the result was that his body was sent flying. He spat out a large mouthful of blood and his arm exploded. It was a terrible sight. Many people gasped. One move. Yun Haoge had been defeated in just one move. The other party did not display a very high cultivation level. Instead, he had suppressed his cultivation to the level of a 2-star illusionary emperor. He was on the same level as Yun Haoge, but he had defeated Yun Haoge with one move. How was this possible? Many people found it hard to believe, but this was the truth. He's too weak. The gray-robed young man shook his head and laughed. He then looked at Yuan Xen and said, I can sense that you have the pure chaotic body. Ate me. Chapter 2133, The Three Realms of Laws. Chapter 2133, The Three Realms of Laws. The gray-robed young man, the Heaven Realm's proud son of heaven, challenged Yuan Xen. Yuan Xin's eyes narrowed. He was not confident in facing the gray-robed young man, but he had clearly stated that he wanted to challenge him, so he could not avoid the battle. Yuan Xen stepped forward, and the aura on her body burst out. 2 types of nomological laws spread out. The gray-robed youth seemed to be surprised. You've already comprehended 2 nomological laws and successfully fused them. Not bad. One wonder how your combat strength is. 111 let you see it, chaotic divine body. Facing the gray-robed young man, Yuan Xen didn't dare to be careless. He immediately used his most powerful killing move, the chaotic divine body. Yuan Xin's body was covered in the color of chaos, as if he was made of chaos stone. His aura had reached its peak. Interesting. Make your move and let me see your strength. Don't worry, one will still suppress my cultivation to 2-star void emperor. The gray-robed youth's eyes revealed a faint smile and a trace of interest. However, he did not panic at all. Such an attitude was undoubtedly very contemptuous. Yuan Xin's eyes were filled with anger. With a roar, she stepped into the void and charged toward the gray-robed young man. Boom. Yuan Xen threw a punch at the gray-robed young man. His fist was like a chaotic stone. The gray-robed young man extended his palm. In his palm, another primordial chaos cauldron formed. It rapidly grew to the size of a mountain. The gray-robed young man waved his hand, and the primordial chaos cauldron pressed toward Yuan Xen. Thump. Yuan Xin's punch landed on the primordial chaos cauldron. The cauldron shook violently, and the sound waves swept out in all directions. Many experts emitted light and blocked the sound waves. Yuan Xen had also suffered a terrifying impact. His body trembled and he kept retreating, causing the void to explode. Not bad. You can block one of my moves. You have some strength. Let's see how many moves you can block, the gray-robed young man said. He seemed to be a little surprised. Then he pressed down with one hand, and the primordial chaos cauldron blasted toward Yuan Xen. Break, die. Yuan Xen roared and kept punching with both fists like a storm. However, what was unbelievable was that after each move, Yuan Xin would retreat rapidly. He was completely outmatched and was suppressed. After more than 10 moves, he retreated a few hundred meters and blood spurted out of his mouth. Suppress. The gray-robed young man muttered, and a sharp glint flashed in his eyes. He pressed down with one hand again, and the cauldron shook and became even bigger, pressing down on Yuan Xin. Boom. This time Yuan Xin was even more miserable. Her body fell down and smashed into the fighting ring on the top of Destiny Mountain, causing a violent boom. How did this happen? In the primordial realm, many young geniuses shouted in disbelief. Yuan Xin, the son of chaos, was a peerless genius. This time she ranked third among all the geniuses in the primordial realm. Even such an expert had been defeated. Moreover, he had been defeated so easily and easily suppressed. The key point was that the other party had already suppressed his cultivation to the level of a 2-star illusionary emperor, but he could still easily suppress Yuan Xin. What was going on? The son of chaos was invincible among those of the same level. How could he be suppressed so badly by his opponent? Second realm of laws. The opponent's laws have already reached the second realm. A powerful true emperor spoke. The second realm of laws? 11 Some people did not understand. Immediately an elder explained. Laws, after cultivating to the level of emperor to be, would reach perfection and become a river of laws. However, this so-called perfection only referred to the perfection of a certain stage. To be exact, it was only the perfection of the first realm of laws. The cultivation of laws was divided into 3 realms. After breaking through to Rhe Martial Emperor realm, some powerhouses could make another breakthrough in their laws and cultivate them to the second or even third realm. Of course, the difficulty was extremely shocking. However, once one broke through, the power would also be shocking. Once he broke through to the second realm, the power of his laws would increase greatly. Even if IR was a king path law, after stepping into the second realm, it could contend with an ultimate law. The gray-robed youth's primordial chaos laws had already reached the second realm. In a battle at the same level, he could naturally easily defeat the son of chaos. However, according to the older generation, only high-level void emperors could cultivate the laws to the second realm. Some people could not break through in their entire lives. As for the other party, he had broken through to the second realm of primordial chaos laws at such a young age. It was truly astonishing. The primordial realm's prodigies are truly flowers in a greenhouse. They can't even withstand a single blow. How boring. The gray-robed young man looked down at Yuan Xin and spoke indifferently, his voice filled with disdain. Detestable. The prides of the primordial realm were all furious. It was really uncomfortable to be looked down upon like this. However, the other party's combat strength was too shocking. Even Tianming and Ming would be defeated. Therefore, they could do nothing but swallow their anger when they were looked down upon by the other party. The gray-robed young man seemed to have lost interest and returned to the chariot. At this moment, a woman walked out. This woman was wearing a suit of iron armor. She looked heroic and was full of killing intent. She glanced at Ming and the rest. One heard that the primordial realm has given birth to a child of fate. I'm very curious about how wonderful the nomological laws of fate are. Do you dare to fight me? Tianming's eyes flickered. The other party directly challenged the destined child, so he could only accept the challenge. Tianming stepped out, his white clothes fluttering in the wind. He looked at the heroic-looking woman and said, I am the child of destiny. What's your cultivation level? The heroic-looking woman said. 2-star Void Emperor. Tianming said. 2-star Void Emperor just as well, I'm also a 2-star Void Emperor. The heroic-looking woman spoke, and the aura of laws emanated from her body. The law of the king path. You have a king physique? Tianming was stunned, and a trace of displeasure flashed through his eyes. The other party actually had the physique of a king, and the physique of a king actually dared to challenge him. This was underestimating him. So what if you have the king physique? Even a king physique can defeat you. The heroic-looking woman's aura became even sharper. A long spear appeared in her hand. The long spear stirred up the wind and clouds as she stabbed toward Tianming. As the long spear stabbed out, the aura of the heroic-looking woman rose sharply, revealing her sharp edge. She was like an invincible goddess of war. Great fate technique. Tianming didn't dare to underestimate his enemy. He used the great fate technique and turned into a rainbow light, attacking the heroic woman. Boom. Fan BSP, the light of fate collided with the spear, creating astonishing ripples. The heroic-looking woman was successfully blocked. The second realm law. However, a second realm king path law is not my match either. Tianming shouted and launched a counterattack. He could tell that his opponent's nomological laws had already reached the second realm. However, he cultivated the nomological laws of fate, while his opponent was only a king's Tao law. He had no fear and could crush his opponent. Bus. Bus. The heavens will finger continued to point, sending beams of destiny light at the enemy. If one doesn't work, then two, then three. The heroic-looking woman said coldly. Her aura had become even stronger. 3 types of nomological laws burst forth, and she had completely mastered them. 3 kinds of king path laws, and 2 of them have already reached the second realm. How is it possible at such a young age? A true emperor with snow-white hair roared in disbelief. He had lived for a long time and knew very well how difficult it was to reach this step. Chapter 2134. Your talents aren't bad. Chapter 2134. Your talents aren't bad. The others were also shocked. The heroic-looking woman looked so young, but she had already comprehended and fused 3 kinds of king path laws. Moreover, 2 of them had already reached the second realm. This was simply frightening. The heroic-looking woman had an imposing aura. She was dressed in iron armor and held a long spear in her hand, like a female war god. She thrust her spear forward and the wind and clouds changed color. 3 laws burst out at the same time, and a terrifying long spear stabbed toward Tianming. Tianming's pupils rapidly contracted, and his eyes became incomparably serious. His entire body shone, and the river of fate appeared. He placed himself in the river of fate and used it to resist. However, the huge spear seemed to be able to pierce through the sky. It pierced directly into the river of fate, causing it to shake continuously and stir up huge waves. The laws of fate were extremely profound and powerful. When he attacked, it was as if his words were law. One word could determine a person's success or failure, life or death, and fate. However, that was only relative to those with weaker cultivation. Once one's cultivation reached a certain level, one could use strength to break through the laws of fate. Previously, Ming was like this. And now, the heroic-looking woman was also the same. The long river of fate surged and finally exploded. Tianming's body trembled and he retreated, spurting out a mouthful of blood. Destiny defeated. The scene was silent. Everyone was dumbfounded and found it difficult to speak. Was this the Heaven Realm's prodigy? He was only a king, yet he could defeat the primordial realm's son of destiny. It made people feel like they were dreaming. So what if he's the son of God? So what if he was Destiny's child? I might have an absolute advantage below the rank of a martial sovereign, but after that, anything is possible. In the future, he'll also use the King Path Law to derive the ultimate law and trample all the sons of God under my feet. The heroic-looking lady spoke, her voice filled with confidence. She had a king's body, and below the martial emperor realm, it was impossible for her to match the Son of Heaven. However, after she broke through to the martial emperor realm, she had comprehended 3 king path laws and even 2 of them had entered the second realm. Many of the sons of heaven at the same realm were not her match. The heroic-looking woman's words shook everyone's hearts. It also made the eyes of many young people with king physiques and even those who cultivated ordinary laws light up. Indeed, so what if they were lagging behind now? They still had a chance. After breaking through to the martial sovereign realm, they might be able to erupt and surpass the Son of God, charging all the way up and reaching the peak. Some of the older generation shook their heads. It was easier said than done to achieve this. Even after breaking through to the martial sovereign realm, it was extremely difficult to comprehend king path laws. It was even more difficult to comprehend an ultimate law. It was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. For a heroic-looking woman to be able to reach this stage, she was already a rare heaven's favorite. However, they naturally wouldn't open their mouths to dampen the young people's enthusiasm. The heroic-looking woman didn't say anything else and returned to the chariot. Tianming's face turned ugly. In the past, he had been invincible and unrivaled in the younger generation. But during this period of time he had suffered a series of defeats. First, he lost to Ming, who had not become an emperor. Now he had lost to a king physique, which dealt a huge blow to his self-confidence. At the same time, the young people of the primordial realm also looked dejected. The heaven realm's prodigies were too strong. No one in the primordial realm could defeat them, and they suffered defeat after defeat. The heaven realm's heaven's pride experts are probably the strongest in the heaven realm. The heaven realm's resources are better, so it's normal for them to have such cultivation. That's right, they must be the strongest group of people in the heaven realm. Some of the young men were discussing. Although they were discussing in low voices, they were still heard by the people of the heaven realm. The gray-robed young man from before sneered and said, "You don't have to comfort yourself. In the heaven realm we are not the strongest group at all. At most, we are only in the second level. The strongest group of people are much stronger than me." What? These words stunned the geniuses of the primordial realm. Even many of the older generation were stunned. These young people in the heaven realm were actually not the strongest. In the heaven realm, there were people stronger than them, and they could only be regarded as second grade. Many of the primordial realm's proud children of heaven had ugly expressions. Even Tianming, Yuan, Baoda, and the others had unsightly expressions and were somewhat discouraged. Is the gap between our primordial realm and the heaven realm that big? I heard that there's only one heaven domain left in the heaven realm. How can it still be so terrifying? How strong would he be if he was at his peak? Many people were discussing and became more and more dejected. You guys don't have to be discouraged. At this time, the armored man stepped out and his voice spread throughout the whole area. Many people looked at him. Your talents are actually not bad. Many people's talents are no worse than the top heaven's favorites in the heaven realm. What you lack is resources and training. The heaven realm has existed for countless years. Although there is only one heaven domain left, it is the largest heaven domain. The resources, treasures, and various cultivation holy lands that have been accumulated over countless years are incomparable to those of the primordial realm. That is why their cultivation is stronger than yours. Also, the heavenly realm is currently at war with the outsiders. Sometimes they will step onto the battlefield and fight to the death. Only by tempering themselves through life and death can they become stronger, the armored man said. His words made the eyes of many of the primordial realm's proud children of heaven light up again, and they regained their confidence. That's right, it wasn't that they were lacking in talent, it was just that they didn't have as many resources as the heaven realm's prodigies. How could the Son of God be lacking in talent? Therefore this time I will bring a group of primordial realm's prodigies to the heaven realm. The resources in the heaven realm will be completely open to you, the armored man said. Many heaven's favorites' eyes lit up with joy. The primordial realm couldn't compare to the heaven realm's resources and all kinds of cultivation holy lands. They were moved and wanted to go. They understood that this was the reward for the battle of the 10 lands and it was really tempting. It was obvious that the heaven realm was trying to nurture the geniuses so that they could rise up quickly. As long as you obtain the resources of the heaven realm, you might be able to compete with them in the future. The armored man pointed at the heaven realm's prodigies and encouraged everyone. Senior, actually, the number 1 genius of the primordial realm hasn't made a move yet. If he did, he might not lose. A youth from the primordial realm spoke up. Previously, their primordial realm had been continuously defeated, and some of the youths were still feeling uncomfortable. At this moment, someone couldn't help but say, "Oh." The armored man and the heaven realm's paragons all looked surprised. At first, they all thought that Tianming was the number 1 genius of the primordial realm. They didn't expect that he wasn't. The number 1 of the primordial realm was someone else? Who's the first in the primordial realm? The armored man asked. Many people's gazes turned to Lu Ming. Lu Ming was speechless. He did not want to stand out at first because the heaven realm's proud children of heaven had very high cultivation levels. Even if he fought, he might not be able to win. But now he was pushed out. He could only step forward and cup his fists at the armored man, saying, "Lu Ming of the junior generation greets the senior." Chapter 2135. Lu Ming takes action. Chapter 2135. Lu Ming takes action. You? The armored man's eyes swept over Lu Ming, very surprised. With his cultivation he could easily see through Lu Ming's cultivation. Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the level of an emperor to be, so he didn't pay much attention to him. He never expected Lu Ming to be the number 1 genius of the primordial realm. Could it be that Lu Ming was more powerful than Destiny's Child? The heaven realm's elites also looked at Lu Ming in surprise. "So it's you, General? I'll meet him." A voice was heard. A young man in a black robe stepped out of the chariot and walked toward Lu Ming. This person was dressed in a black robe and had long hair like a waterfall. His face was cold and arrogant and his eyes were sharp. He was the young man Lu Ming had met in that world. At that time, this person was with the purple-haired young man, and the two seemed to be senior and junior brothers. Back then, Lu Ming had fought with this person. However, the other party seemed to be busy and ignored Lu Ming. He had long wanted to make a move. Now that he heard that Lu Ming was the number 1 prodigy of the primordial realm, he could not wait to make a move. "Make your move. Let me see how strong you are." The black-robed young man stared at Lu Ming, his cold arrogance growing. The aura on his body soared to the sky. He was a peak 2-star Void Emperor. Bus. Whoosh. Following that, 6 pitch-black vortexes appeared behind him, spinning non-stop. These were the reincarnation vortexes that wanted to devour people and send them into reincarnation. This person was a child of samsara. In fact, after becoming a martial supreme, there was almost no need to call him a son of heaven. This was because after becoming a martial supreme, some people could cultivate an ultimate maxim later on. Those who did so later on could not be called a son of heaven. However, it was also difficult to distinguish who was innate and who was acquired. Therefore, those after the rank of martial supreme rarely used this form of address. However, the black-robed youth's law of reincarnation was extremely oppressive. The 6 vortexes seemed to be able to swallow the entire world. Remember, the person who defeated you is called Li Yu. With that, the black-robed young man pressed down with one hand and 6 vortexes pressed toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. Li Yu's combat strength was definitely above Yuan Xin's or even Tianming's. His cultivation base was at the peak of the 2-star illusionary emperor realm, which was not weaker than Tianming and Yuan Xian. Moreover, his law of reincarnation had broken through to the 2nd realm, which was extremely powerful. Lu Ming did not hold back and exploded with all his strength. All 5 types of nomological laws burst out, and a river of 5-colored nomological laws surrounded his body. Bus. Lu Ming soared into the sky and struck out with his palm. Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying palm force hit the 6 reincarnation vortexes, causing them to tremble continuously. Li Yu's body also trembled as he was forced to retreat continuously. 2 ultimate maxims? Impossible. How is that possible? Li Yu's shocked voice came out of his mouth. He widened his eyes and stared at Lu Ming. He was in disbelief. He could actually sense 2 ultimate maxims from Lu Ming. This was absolutely unbelievable. He was not the only one. The other Heaven Realm's paragons also widened their eyes and stared at Lu Ming in a daze, as if they had never seen the world. It's your turn to be surprised now. Some of the primordial realm's proud sons of heaven were excited. Seeing the Heaven Realm's proud sons of heaven shock them, they felt great. Boom. Even the armored man couldn't control himself. A terrifying aura burst out from his body, and his eyes were wide open. At the same time, a terrifying and oppressive aura filled the air. This aura made people feel as if they were facing the might of the heavens. They were unable to resist it, as if they were just an ant. The stronger one's cultivation was, the deeper one could sense it. Many great emperors' faces changed and they broke out in a cold sweat. They looked at the figure sitting on the heaven chariot. The aura that was like the might of heaven came from this figure. This figure had always been shrouded in divine light, so his appearance couldn't be seen clearly. Before this, he had been very calm and didn't show any signs of abnormality. At this moment, after seeing Lu Ming erupt with 2 ultimate maxims, the figure fluctuated and revealed a trace of aura. Heavens! The Celestial Emperor. An emperor spoke with great difficulty, causing everyone's hearts to tremble. The Celestial Emperor. The figure sitting on the chariot was actually the Celestial Thearch? The Celestial Emperor contained the might of the heavens. However, as soon as the aura was released, it was retracted, and the terrifying pressure disappeared. At the Emperor-to-be realm, you can actually comprehend 2 strongest laws and 3 king path laws. Haha, I didn't expect such a person to appear in the primordial realm. Continue, let me experience it. Li Yu was overjoyed instead of shocked. His fighting spirit grew stronger. He laughed and charged at Lu Ming. Along the way, his aura grew stronger and another law spread out. Li Yu had mastered 2 types of nomological laws, one of which was the law of reincarnation and the other was the law of kings. However, he had not broken into the 2nd realm of the king path law. He was only at the completion of the 1st realm. However, it also improved Li Yu's combat strength. 6 paths of reincarnation fist. Li Yu stretched out his arms and threw a punch. The force of the punch was imbued with the power of the law, and it was aimed at Lu Ming. Death's Blade. Lu Ming cast one of his strongest killing moves, the Sword of Death. A huge combat sword was condensed in Lu Ming's hand. Previously, Lu Ming had used this move to cut off the long river of destiny. Buzz. The Sword of Death slashed out. Boom. An earth-shattering boom rang out as the Sword of Death collided with the fist radiance, creating an endless amount of energy. The chi was like wild waves, wave after wave, sweeping in all directions. Boom. The 2 of them retreated 100 meters after the attack. Li Yu was indeed stronger than Tianming. Previously, Lu Ming could cut off Tianming's river of destiny with one sword. Now he could not defeat Li Yu. Again? Liu let out a long howl and charged at Lu Ming again. The force of the 6 Daos of reincarnation fist covered the sky and the earth as it came at Lu Ming. Good. Lu Ming let out a long howl, his eyes filled with excitement and fighting spirit. He was indeed excited. In the primordial realm, he was already invincible among the younger generation. Once he used the Sword of Death, even destiny would be defeated. However, Liu was able to fight with him now. This would allow Lu Ming to continue perfecting the Sword of Death. The Sword of Death was only a beginner. Lu Ming could barely unleash the profoundness of 4 types of laws, but he was still a long way from mastering it. Only in the midst of a great battle could it be continuously perfected. Boom. Boom. The two of them charged at each other, constantly fighting and clashing. It was extremely intense. I didn't expect there to be such a person in the primordial realm. The young man from the heaven realm had a serious expression on his face. Lu Ming is indeed powerful. He can fight against the heaven's pride. The prides of the primordial realm smiled, feeling a little better. Previously, the primordial realm's prodigies had been completely suppressed by the heaven realm's prodigies. Although the heaven realm had more resources, so the other party was stronger, and in terms of talent they weren't bad, they still didn't feel good. Now, there was finally someone who could fight against the heaven realm's prodigies. Chapter 2136. Chapter 2135, First Victory? Chapter 2136. Chapter 2135 First Victory. The battle was very intense, and in the blink of an eye, over 100 moves had passed. Satisfying, satisfying. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He realized that as the battle progressed, the power of his Sword of Death was getting stronger and stronger. He was also becoming more and more familiar with the use of the 4 types of laws. This kid is using Liu to practice his divine power. What a terrifying talent. The burly man in the armor saw through Lu Ming's intention and was secretly shocked. Damn it. Liu roared in his heart. He realized that the more they fought, the stronger Lu Ming became. In the beginning they were evenly matched, but now Lu Ming was slowly suppressing him. He was furious. He couldn't be defeated by the primordial realm's prodigy. He roared and fought Lu Ming with all his might. He'll cultivate the Chaos Hammer. Lu Ming could not care less about Liu's thoughts. He was completely immersed in cultivating the divine power technique now. All of a sudden his attack changed. The Sword of Death disappeared, and Lu Ming cast the Hammer of Chaos to fight with his opponent. A giant hammer formed in Lu Ming's hand and he smashed it at Liu. Each blow was so heavy that it could blow up a mountain and penetrate the earth. The two of them engaged in a fierce battle and exchanged hundreds of moves. Lu Ming's Hammer of Chaos was getting stronger and stronger. Boom. Boom. Lu Ming swung the Hammer of Chaos and the Sword of Death at other times to hone his superpower. Liu, on the other hand, was having a hard time. He was completely at a disadvantage. Lu Ming was getting stronger and stronger. He roared. He didn't want to be the first person to be defeated by the primordial realm's proud son of heaven. He wanted to turn defeat into victory, but it was all in vain. He was no match. Bang. In the end he was hit by Lu Ming's Hammer of Chaos. Even his 6 reincarnation vortexes exploded. He was sent flying backward and blood spurted out. His face was pale and extremely unsightly. He had actually lost. He had lost to someone from the primordial realm. All right. Many of the youths of the primordial realm cheered, feeling extremely carefree. The primordial realm had finally won a battle, but it had not lost so badly. Lu Xiangxiang, Ouyang Moli and the rest jumped up in joy. Do you still want to fight? Lu Ming glared at Liu. Fight again. Liu roared, unwilling to admit defeat. Junior brothers, stop. At this moment, a voice was heard. Then a figure stepped out. It was the purple-haired young man. Liu seemed to be very obedient to the purple-haired young man and stopped. Junior brother, you're not his match. If you continue to fight, you'll definitely lose. There's no need to. Let me do it. The violet-haired youth smiled. Senior brother, are you going to make a move? Liu was stunned. I can suppress my cultivation and fight him. The purple-haired youth said. There's no need for you to do anything. How about you leave this battle to me? Another voice was heard. It was the gray-robed young man who had defeated Yuan Xian earlier. At this moment he stepped out. The purple-haired young man pondered for a moment and said, You can make a move. Lu Ming, right? Make your move. Let me see your ability. The gray-robed youth said. A primordial chaos cauldron formed in his hand. Boom. Lu Ming could not be bothered to waste his breath on the other party. He attacked immediately, the huge chaos hammer smashing towards the other party. Since the gray-robed young man dared to attack, he must be stronger than Liu. Lu Ming did not hold back and went all out. The gray-robed young man waved his hand and the grand mist cauldron spun, pressing down on Lu Ming. 2 types of laws. The gray-robed young man also controlled 2 types of laws, an ultimate law and a king path law. However, like Liu, he had not reached the second realm of the king path law. However, his primordial chaos laws were clearly more mature. Boom. The hammer of chaos and the primordial chaos cauldron collided. Lu Ming felt a terrifying force surge through the hammer of chaos. Lu Ming's body trembled and he took a few steps back. However, the primordial chaos cauldron was also sent flying and caught by the gray-robed youth. He's stronger than Liu. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The other party's primordial chaos laws were clearly more profound and powerful. However, Lu Ming was not afraid. He was only excited. Another one for him to train. Lu Ming stepped on the void and charged at the gray-robed young man again. Boom. Boom. After more than 10 consecutive moves, although Lu Ming was at a slight disadvantage, he was not defeated. He became stronger as the battle progressed and he comprehended the divine ability in the battle. You want to use me as a whetstone? Impossible. One didn't say that I would suppress my cultivation to fight you. The gray-robed young man said coldly. In the next moment, a shocking aura erupted from his body. It was much stronger than before. A 3-star illusionary emperor. This was the gray-robed young man's true cultivation. He had already reached the peak of 3-star void emperor and was only 1 step away from becoming a 4-star void emperor. The gray-robed young man's combat strength surged. Lose? The gray-robed young man waved his hand and the primordial chaos cauldron smashed toward Lu Ming again. Its power was much stronger than before. The primordial chaos cauldron suppressed an area of the void as large as a mountain. Lu Ming retreated rapidly, but the primordial chaos cauldron followed him at an alarming speed. Boom. Lu Ming used the hammer of chaos to blast it. The sky trembled and Lu Ming's body shook violently as he was sent flying a few thousand meters. His arm trembled slightly, and the web between his thumb and forefinger was split open, bleeding. In the martial emperor realm, there was a huge difference between each stage. A 3-star void emperor was much stronger than a 2-star void emperor. If it was an ordinary 3-star illusionary emperor, Lu Ming would be able to kill him in seconds. However, the gray-robed young man was a genius among geniuses. He could kill enemies of a higher level than him. In fact, he could kill enemies of a higher level than him. Lu Ming was no match for him. Bus. The primordial chaos cauldron trembled once more and came crashing down on Lu Ming. Lu Ming was sent flying again. His chi and blood boiled and blood seeped out of the corners of his mouth. I can only use the 3rd bloodline. Lu Ming squinted his eyes. With a thought, the energy of the 3rd bloodline gushed into his body continuously, covering him with a layer of blood-red light. Lu Ming's aura skyrocketed and his killing intent was endless. Thump. Lu Ming wielded the chaos hammer and struck the primordial chaos cauldron, sending it flying. Hiss hiss hiss, gasps could be heard at the scene. Countless people looked at Lu Ming dumbfounded. Lu Ming still had energy left. He had not used all his strength earlier. How was this possible? They were all shocked. Why would I? Tianming, Yuan, Xin, and the others were also shocked. Previously, Lu Ming had defeated them without using his full strength. They had suffered a huge blow. It's this secret technique. Xing's expression was extremely ugly. Back in the world of the lotus flower, Lu Ming had used this secret skill to defeat him. The experts of the Heng family, the He family, and other forces were even more shocked. Lu Ming was too terrifying. Some of the Heaven Realm's geniuses also looked very serious. Kill? The gray-robed young man stepped on the primordial cauldron and charged at Lu Ming. Lu Ming welcomed him and fought with him. After borrowing the power of his 3rd bloodline, Lu Ming's combat strength had increased greatly. He had the upper hand in the continuous exchanges with the gray-robed young man. All right, let's stop here. At this moment, a clear voice was heard. Chapter 2137. Chapter 2137, Divine Body or Crippled Body? Chapter 2137. Chapter 2137 Divine Body or Crippled Body. A voice rang out. The voice was clear and bright, but it contained supreme dignity. Hearing this voice, the gray-robed young man's expression changed and he quickly retreated. Lu Ming stopped as well. He retracted the power of the 3rd bloodline and the blood-red light on Lu Ming's body disappeared. Everyone's eyes were on the figure sitting on the chariot, shrouded in divine light. He was the one who had just spoken. At this moment, the figure stood up and stepped out of the chariot. The divine light on his body also retracted, revealing his true appearance. It was a middle-aged man who looked to be in his 40s. He was wearing a long robe and looked quite elegant. However, the great emperors of the primordial realm hurriedly saluted and bowed. "Greetings, Lord Heavenly Emperor." It was indeed the celestial Thearch. Everyone's heart trembled violently, and then they followed suit and saluted. Their voices resounded through the sky. The elegant middle-aged man nodded. He swept his gaze across Lu Ming, then Tianming, Yuan Xian, and the rest. The primordial realm has also reached its golden age, and there are many elites. Not bad. Many of you are very talented. If you enter the heaven realm and receive the cultivation of the heaven realm, you will definitely be able to rise quickly. One have decided that this time, the top 320 of the primordial realm can follow me into the heaven realm to cultivate. Those cultivation holy lands will open their doors for you. At the same time, there will be heavenly emperors to guide you. The elegant middle-aged man said. What? The top 320 can go. And the celestial Thearch is personally guiding me. Many people's eyes lit up. Especially the top 320 heaven's favorites, they were all ecstatic and excited. This meant that the 320 people who had passed the selection could all go. Many of those who hadn't reached the 320th place had ugly expressions and sighed helplessly. The heaven realm's resources were much better than the primordial realms, and there was also the celestial emperor's guidance. This was too tempting. Of course, when you enter the heaven realm, you will also be allowed to enter the battlefield. There will be some danger in fighting with the alien tribes. If you don't want to go, one won't force you. If you don't want to go, you can ask now. The elegant middle-aged man said. Not a single person stood out. Who would be willing to miss such a rare opportunity? Moreover, if they wanted to rise, they had to rise from the slaughter. These heaven's favorites are not afraid of slaughter. Without tempering himself, how could he reach the peak? No one wanted to quit. Very good. The elegant middle-aged man nodded and looked at Lu Ming in surprise. After a while he said, the other people in the top 320 can go, but you can't. What? Everyone was stunned by his words. The celestial Thearch said that Lu Ming could not go? What was going on? Lu Ming's strength was obvious to all. His combat strength was unparalleled. He had yet to become a great emperor, but he had already mastered 5 types of laws, 2 ultimate laws and 3 king path laws. His combat strength was so frightening that it could be said that it had never been seen before. But now, the celestial Thearch actually said that Lu Ming could not go? Could it be that there were other arrangements? Many people's imagination ran wild. Even Lu Ming himself was stunned. Heavenly Emperor, why can't one go? Lu Ming was a little indignant. If he could go to the cultivation holy lands in the heaven realm to cultivate and even receive guidance from the celestial Thearch, his cultivation would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. In the current great era, the foreign races were invading, and he didn't know when a great war would break out. He had to improve his strength as soon as possible. Your physique is unparalleled among those below the martial supreme realm. The celestial Thearch looked at Lu Ming and said slowly. Many people were shocked. Even the celestial Thearch described Lu Ming's unparalleled divine body as unparalleled. Wait a minute. Some people noticed that the celestial Thearch was referring to those below the martial sovereign realm. But at the same time, your body is also a peerless trash body. The celestial Thearch continued. What? Countless people were shocked. Previously, the celestial Thearch had said that Lu Ming's physique was a peerless divine body. Why was he calling Lu Ming a peerless trash body now? Everyone was at a loss and didn't know what was going on. Ow? The celestial Thearch sighed as if he found it a pity. Since ancient times, those who cultivate in the nomological system know that those below the martial emperor realm can only comprehend one type of nomological law at most. It's impossible to control 2 types of nomological laws. Many people's hearts stirred. Lu Ming had mastered many types of laws. They knew that the celestial Thearch was most likely going to reveal some big secret. The celestial Thearch continued. However, the heaven realm has been passed down for countless years. At the end of the primordial era, the system of nomological laws emerged. It has been countless years since then. In such a long period of time, one wonder how many heaven's favorites have appeared. Many of them have amazing talents. In the distant past, there were people who broke the norm. Below the rank of martial supreme, there were people who could control multiple laws. In fact, there were people who could control more laws than you. It was just that no one could control 2 ultimate laws at the same time. Those people below the martial emperor realm are extremely talented. Their combat strength is unparalleled and rare. They can easily kill a void emperor, let alone those at the same realm. However, these people will never be able to break through to the martial emperor realm. The celestial Thearch explained in detail. Everyone was shocked and their hearts were in turmoil, unable to calm down. It turned out that in the ancient times of the heaven realm, there had been such a heaven-defying figure. Below the martial emperor realm, he had mastered many kinds of laws and had unparalleled combat strength. However, the most shocking thing was that these people could not break through to the martial emperor realm. Lu Ming himself was also shocked and dumbfounded. He could not break through to the martial supreme realm? That was impossible. Lu Ming's eyes turned red. He could not accept it. At the same time, he remembered that he had tried to break through to the martial supreme realm in that world, but he had failed and almost torn his saint heart and body apart. As we all know, to break through to the martial sovereign realm, one has to transform the laws in the saint heart into the world core. Then, the world core will transform the saint heart into a small world. However, it's very difficult to balance it when you control so many laws. You can say that it's impossible to balance it at all and can't evolve the world core. Once you break through by force, the terrifying power of the laws will tear the saint heart and the person apart. In history, geniuses like you all walked the two heavens path in the end. One of them was to forcefully break through, and then be torn apart by the power of laws and die. The other is to be trapped in the emperor to be realm for the rest of your life. Your life will be exhausted and you will die of depression. Boom, boom, boom. The celestial Thearch's words were like thunder, exploding in Lu Ming's mind. This was because the celestial Thearch's words were too similar to what he was facing. They were exactly the same. No, that was impossible. Lu Ming's face was dull and his eyes were bloodshot. He could not accept this fact. If he could not break through to the rank of a martial supreme, then what was the point of cultivating? That's impossible. My master will definitely break through to the rank of a martial supreme. He's unparalleled in the world. Lu Xiangxiang cried out. Her little face was pale and she could not accept this. I won't. Ouyang Moli, Qiuyu, Feng Ling, Long Qin, and the others all shook their heads in disbelief. The scene was in an uproar. There was actually such a thing. It really was a magnitude 12 earthquake. Chapter 2138, The Celestial Thearch's Help? Chapter 2138, The Celestial Thearch's Help. Lu Ming had defied the heavens and emerged as the champion of the Battle of the Ten Lands. He had suppressed all the paragons and stood at the peak. There was no doubt that Lu Ming was the most dazzling in the Battle of the Ten Lands. No one could compare to him. He had defeated Yuan, Xian, Tianming, and even the Heaven Realm's pride. This was destined to be recorded in the history books. Previously, everyone had thought that Lu Ming had a bright future and that his future achievements were unimaginable. He would become a top expert. Some powerful forces had even planned to befriend Lu Ming and build a good relationship with him. However, the celestial Thearch had said that Lu Ming could not break through to the martial emperor realm and would be trapped in the emperor to be realm for the rest of his life. No one would question the celestial Thearch's words. It could be said that Lu Ming's outcome was already decided. What a pity. A rare heaven's favorite. What a pity. Some of the people from the major forces sighed. They had planned to befriend Lu Ming and build a good relationship with him. However, they had dispelled this idea now. If he could not break through to the martial supreme realm, then no matter how strong he was, he would not be taken seriously by these major forces. No matter how strong he was, how strong could he be below the rank of a martial supreme? Any true emperor would be able to crush them. Haha, the heavens have eyes, the heavens have eyes. The Hung family, He family, Daluo Heaven sect, Ancient Moon Holy Land's Golden Crow clan, Yuan family, Sky Wolf Tower, and other forces laughed madly in their hearts. They were simply too excited. It was as if joy had descended from the heavens. Previously, the abilities that Lu Ming had displayed had made them tremble with fear. They were so afraid that they could die. They were afraid that Lu Ming would rise up and seek revenge on them. However, Lu Ming could not break through to the martial emperor realm now. He would be trapped in the emperor to be realm for the rest of his life. He would not be a threat to them at all. No matter how strong an emperor to be was, what could he do? A peerless cripple he? The great emperor of the He family sneered. He had been holding a grudge ever since he was beaten up by Lu Ming, who controlled the celestial Thearch's body. To those who had a grudge against Lu Ming, there was no better news than this. However, those who were on good terms with Lu Ming could not remain calm. They sighed one after another. The heavenly Tao is unfair. An old man from the Phoenix Palace sighed. Such a proud son of heaven, a proud son of heaven that had never appeared in the primordial realm since ancient times, was unable to break through to the martial emperor realm. It was truly lamentable. Emperor Formless and Uncle Kong were also in disbelief. Heavenly Emperor, has no one ever broken this shackle and entered the martial emperor realm in history? Uncle Kong asked. No, never. Those who wanted to break through died. The others were stuck at Emperor-to-be for the rest of their lives. The celestial Thearch shook his head. He also felt that it was a pity. Uncle Kong's body trembled and he seemed to have instantly aged many years. Haha, good. It's just a piece of trash. I finally don't have to be afraid. He's just a piece of trash. To think that one even treated him as a peerless genius. The Hung family, the He family, the Golden Crow clan, and other forces all laughed with smiles on their faces. Of course they didn't dare to say it out loud. They only thought about it in their hearts. Trash, he's only strong now. It won't be long before I surpass him in all aspects. Yuan Xan, the son of chaos, also sneered. At this moment he was filled with confidence. Lu Ming could not break through to the martial supreme realm. He was no longer qualified to be his opponent. One was thinking of defeating you with my own hands one day. One actually lost to a piece of trash. Tianming sneered in his heart and shook his head. What a pity, he would have been a very good opponent. The purple-haired young man sighed. No, my master will definitely break through. I don't believe that Lu Ming can break the shackles. Lu Xiangxiang and the others still found it hard to believe. No, 111 definitely break through. They'll definitely become a martial supreme. Even the heavens can't stop me. Lu Ming's eyes were bloodshot. He clenched his fists tightly and his voice was filled with determination. What a joke. The celestial Thearch has already said it, but he still doesn't believe it. Wishful thinking. A middle-aged man from the Yuan family couldn't help but sneer, which immediately attracted angry gazes. He immediately shut up. You want to force a breakthrough? The celestial Thearch looked at Lu Ming. Yes, I believe in myself. I can break the shackles. The path is created by humans. The ancient people didn't do it, but it doesn't mean one can't. Lu Ming's gaze was extremely determined. Since ancient times, no one had been able to control two ultimate maxims at the same time. Didn't he achieve it too? There's a risk of death if you try to break through to the martial supreme realm forcefully. Are you ready? The celestial Thearch said with a hint of admiration in his eyes. He sighed in his heart. He admired Lu Ming's talent, willpower, and firm heart in martial arts. If Lu Ming had not been crippled, his future would have been unbelievable. It would not have been impossible for him to break through to the celestial Thearch realm. I will definitely succeed. Lu Ming's gaze was firm. Alright, since that's the case, 111 give you 10 days to prepare. After 10 days, 111 lend you a hand and help you break through to the martial supreme realm. The celestial Thearch's voice resounded in all directions. What? The celestial Thearch was going to help Lu Ming break through to the martial supreme realm personally. This was definitely a great opportunity. Detestable. The Hung clan, He clan, Ancient Moon Holy Land Golden Crow clan, Yuan clan and other forces were all shocked, extremely unwilling and envious. The celestial Thearch actually wanted to help. Initially they were overjoyed when they heard that Lu Ming could not break through to the martial supreme realm. Now they were afraid that Lu Ming would succeed with the help of the celestial Thearch. They were all secretly praying that Lu Ming would not succeed. As for Lu Xiangxiang and the others, they were ecstatic. Thank you for your help, Heavenly Emperor. Lu Ming saluted the celestial Thearch solemnly to express his gratitude. He was sincere. He really didn't expect the celestial Thearch to help him. Thank you for your help, Heavenly Emperor. Uncle Kong and Emperor Formless also bowed. Thank you for your help, Heavenly Emperor. Following that, Lu Xiangxiang, Ouyang Moli, Qiuyu Huangling and the others also bowed. Thank you for your help, Heavenly Emperor. After that, many people in Mount Yuan also bowed to express their gratitude to the Heavenly Emperor. For example, the Holy Emperor of the Ancient Saint clan and some other powers. They all knew that when the alien race had wreaked havoc in Mount Yuan, it was Lu Ming and a few great emperors who had risked their lives to seal the void passageway that the alien race had come through. They were grateful to Lu Ming. Thank you for your help, Heavenly Emperor. In the end, the eternal Emperor of the Land of Infinite Demons, the Divine Lands and other powerful beings from other regions expressed their gratitude to the Heavenly Emperor. Most of them were not so narrow-minded and they had no grudge against Lu Ming. Lu Ming's talent was too high. It would be a pity if he remained silent. They all had the heart to cherish talents, so they thanked the celestial Thearch. You're welcome. I have the heart to cherish talents and will not watch the peerless prodigy fall into silence. In the next 10 days I will set up a great formation at this moment to help Lu Ming break through, but, the celestial Thearch looked at Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming, I'll make it clear first that the chances of success are not high. Also, if you don't succeed you can't go to the heaven realm. Now that we're in a war with the alien races, every resource is precious. If you can't become a Saint Emperor, the experts in the heaven realm won't waste any resources on you. Do you understand? Chapter 2139. Chapter 2138, Road Ahead Cut Off. Chapter 2139. Chapter 2138 Road Ahead Cut Off. The celestial Thearch's words were very straightforward and direct. With the invasion of the foreign races, the heaven realm was in a great war. To the heaven realm and the primordial realm, it was of great significance to nurture and let the peerless prodigies grow and become the pillars of support. Therefore, every bit of resources was precious and must be used on the edge of the blade. If Lu Ming could not break through to the martial supreme realm, then he would lose his value in nurturing. An emperor to be, no matter how strong he was useless in the war with the alien races. The experts of the heaven realm would not waste their resources on a trash. Therefore, if Lu Ming could not become a great emperor, he could only stay in the primordial realm and could not go to the heaven realm. Junior understands? Lu Ming nodded. Alright, get ready. Adjust your condition to the peak, the celestial Thearch said. Lu Ming nodded and went to the side. He sat cross-legged and closed his eyes to rest. He wanted to adjust his condition, his essence, chi and spirit to their peak. The celestial Thearch began to inscribe a formation on the peak of Destiny Mountain. The peak of Destiny Mountain glowed with dazzling light. Everyone was waiting there, and there were even more people. Lu Ming could be said to be the unprecedented heaven's favorite of the Yuan continent. Everyone wanted to see if Lu Ming could become a sovereign. Time flew by and 10 days were up. On this day Lu Ming opened his eyes and stepped onto Destiny Mountain's peak. Lu Ming, let's start. The Heavenly Emperor spoke. During this period of time, everyone knew that the Heavenly Emperor's name was Kong Yin. People called him Heavenly Emperor Kong Yin. Lu Ming nodded and sat cross-legged on the top of Destiny Mountain. You must succeed. Lu Xiangxiang, Ouyang Moli, and the others were all very nervous and clenched their fists. The Hung family, the He family, the Golden Crow clan, the Wan family, the Skywolf Tower, and other forces were also very nervous. However, their hearts were the opposite. They were hoping that Lu Ming would not succeed. Boom. A strong aura emanated from Lu Ming's body. He was about to start his breakthrough. The scene was completely silent. There was not a single sound. With the celestial Thearch in charge, even those forces that had enmity with Lu Ming, such as the Mu family who wished for Lu Ming's death, did not dare to make any moves and disturb Lu Ming's breakthrough. Otherwise, if they angered the celestial emperor, the entire Mu clan would be buried with him. The Hung family, the He family, and other forces didn't dare to make any moves. At this moment, Lu Ming began to control the 5 types of laws and evolved the heart of the world in his saint heart. However, at this moment the 5 Nomologicae laws erupted. It was difficult for them to exist together. They collided with each other and a terrifying tearing force burst forth. Lu Ming's body shook violently and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Just like the last time, it was difficult to succeed. Lu Ming, focus your mind and focus on the transformation. It'll protect your physical body and saint heart. Celestial Emperor Kong Yin said. He stretched out his hand, and the entire peak of Destiny Mountain was filled with multicolored light. Divine light emerged and enveloped Lu Ming's body. Then it seeped into his flesh and covered his saint heart. The formation's power was protecting Lu Ming's physical body and saint heart. Evolution. Lu Ming growled. He no longer cared about his physical body and his saint heart. He controlled the 5 types of laws with all his might, trying to develop the world core in his saint heart. However, there were too many of the 5 Nomologicae laws and it was difficult to achieve a balance. The forces were colliding and surging with each other. The terrifying forces were attacking outward. Lu Ming's saint heart and physical body trembled violently as they were bombarded by the destructive power. If celestial Thearch Kong Yin had not protected his saint heart and body, Lu Ming would have been severely injured. His saint heart might have exploded and his body would have been torn apart. I must succeed. Lu Ming roared. He did not care and went all out. Boom. Boom. Lu Ming's body emitted a series of rumbling sounds, as if there were experts fighting inside Lu Ming's body. His body burst out with rays of light like a sieve. It was extremely shocking. Pucci. Then Lu Ming coughed out a large mouthful of blood and his face turned pale. It could be seen that cracks had begun to appear on his body. Not good. Heavenly Emperor Kong Yin's face changed. Even with his help, Lu Ming was still injured. It was not that he did not have enough power, but when Lu Ming was breaking through, the law was agitated and burst out directly from Lu Ming's body. In the end, it might attract the power of the heavenly Tao and cause Lu Ming to self-destruct. Master. Lu Ming. At that moment, Lu Xiangxiang, Qiuyu and Feng Ling were all extremely nervous. Breakthrough. Lu Ming roared and continued to break through. He had to break through. His path of martial arts could not be severed just like that. Gotcha. Puchi. Cracks even appeared on Lu Ming's saint heart, and more cracks appeared on his physical body. Blood kept oozing out as if it would fall apart at any moment. Lu Ming, stop. You can't continue. Otherwise you'll die. Heavenly Emperor Kong Yin shouted. Breakthrough. Lu Ming let out a long howl. His eyes were filled with determination. He wanted to continue breaking through. Many people were touched and many people sighed. They could understand Lu Ming's feelings. As a peerless heaven's favorite, how sad would it be if he was trapped in the emperor-to-be realm for the rest of his life? If they were in his shoes, many people would also try to break through at all costs. There were more cracks on Lu Ming's body and blood spurted out from the cracks. Master. Lu Xiangxiang said softly, tears welling up in her eyes. Young master. Qiuyu felt the same way. Her heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. Everyone who was on good terms with Lu Ming could not bear to see this. On the other hand, the Golden Crow clan, the Yuan family and the other forces were overjoyed. They were shouting in their hearts that Lu Ming should not succeed. At this moment, a crack appeared between Lu Ming's eyebrows. It was as if his entire head was about to split open. This was extremely dangerous. If it wasn't handled properly, his body would explode and his soul would scatter. Stop. Celestial Emperor Kong Yin shouted and pressed with one hand. A powerful and terrifying force surged into Lu Ming's body, taking control of him. He understood that if he did not interfere, Lu Ming would only be left with a dead end. With the celestial Thearch's intervention, Lu Ming could not control the law. The law dissipated and he spat out a mouthful of blood, his face pale. I failed. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. He failed again. Furthermore, it was with the help of Heavenly Emperor Kong Yin. However, he still failed and did not succeed in breaking through. Could it be that he really had a peerless crippled body that would make it difficult for him to become a divine emperor? He was extremely unwilling. Along the way he had experienced countless risks and storms. He had broken through all obstacles and reached today, stepping on the peak of the primordial realm's younger generation. In the end it was blocked by the great emperor realm, unable to break through. If he couldn't become a saint emperor, everything would be for naught. If a great war were to break out in the future, he would be powerless to protect his loved ones. No. A voice roared in Lu Ming's heart. He was unwilling to give up. He would not give up just like that. He would definitely break the shackles and create a miracle. Lu Ming, heal your injuries first. Heavenly Emperor Kong Yin spoke and a warm energy surged into Lu Ming's body. With this energy flow, his injuries were actually rapidly recovering. Lu Ming composed himself and circulated his cultivation technique. He controlled the energy and healed his injured body. Chapter 2140, Parting Ways. Chapter 2140, Parting Ways. Lu Ming continued to refine the energy and let it flow through his body, seeping into his saint heart. The cracks on his saint heart disappeared and finally recovered completely. His physical body had also completely recovered, and his injuries were completely healed. Lu Ming understood that it was all thanks to the celestial Thearch's help. The energy contained endless vitality, which was why he could recover so quickly. Otherwise, his saint heart would have cracked and he would have been severely injured. It would have taken him a long time to recover. Thank you for your help, Heavenly Emperor. Lu Ming stood up and thanked Celestial Emperor Kong Yin solemnly. What kind of person was the Heavenly Emperor realm? Yet, he could help him to break through his cultivation. Regardless of whether he succeeded or not, Lu Ming was very grateful. Sigh, what a pity. Heavenly Emperor Kong Yin sighed. It was a pity that a person like Lu Ming could not become a Heavenly Emperor. Lu Ming, don't force a breakthrough in the future. One can save you this time, but no one will be able to save you next time. Take care of yourself. Heavenly Emperor Kong Yin said before turning around and returning to his chariot. Master, Xiangxiang Bella believes that you will definitely break through in the future and create a miracle. Lu Xiangxiang walked over and looked at Lu Ming with tears in her eyes. I also believe in Master. Ouyang Moli also walked over. Young Master. Qiu Yu also walked over, but she didn't know what to say. Then Huang Ling, Long Qin, Luo Tianyi, Luo Xiang and the others also came over. Looking at these disciples and friends, Lu Ming's heart warmed. He smiled and said, "Don't worry, I won't take any risks." At that moment, the Hung family, the He family, and the other forces who had a grudge against Lu Ming were overjoyed. They laughed in their hearts and heaved a sigh of relief. Mu Yang was actually killed by a cripple. The Mu family will definitely take revenge. The Mu family expert sneered in his heart as killing intent flickered in his eyes. Alright, it's getting late. The top 320 heaven's favorites, follow me to the heaven realm, he said. Heavenly Emperor Kong Yin's voice was heard. Bus. Whoosh. Immediately, one figure after another flashed. One by one, the young heaven's favorites flew up to the chariot. No, Xiangxiang doesn't want to go to the heaven realm. Xiangxiang wants to stay with Master. Lu Xiangxiang shook her head. Young Master, I'm not going either. Qiu Yu said. Bubbles isn't going either. I want to accompany Brother Lu Ming. The bubble hung on Lu Ming's neck and swayed. Previously, Heavenly Emperor Kong Yin had said that if Lu Ming could not become a Heavenly Emperor, he could not go to the heaven realm. The heaven realm would not waste resources on a person who was destined not to become a Saint Emperor. What are you talking about? Go to the heaven realm and cultivate. You can only improve faster in the heaven realm. Lu Ming smiled and looked at Qiu Yu and the rest. If the heaven realm wanted to train this group of young talents, they would definitely provide a lot of resources. With the guidance of the Heavenly Emperor, their progress would definitely be very fast. If he had stayed in the primordial realm and relied on his own exploration, his cultivation speed would have been much slower. They did not know when the alien races would invade and when a great war would break out. The only way was to go to the heaven realm to cultivate. Lu Ming would not let them stay. No. Don't. Qiu Yu, Bubbles, Lu Xiangxiang and the rest shook their heads. At this moment, Heavenly Emperor Kong Yin's gaze turned to Bubbles. Little guy, you're a spacetime spirit mouse. You'll only be wasting your talent if you stay in the primordial realm and explore by yourself. Come with me to the heaven realm. There will be a special celestial emperor to guide you. Heavenly Emperor Kong Yin placed great importance on Bubbles. The top 10 war beasts were no small matter. Each of them had unparalleled talent. If they were to fully mature, they would be peak experts. The top 10 battle beasts of the ancient era were all terrifying existences with unparalleled battle strength and unparalleled divine might. I'm not going. Pow Pow shook her head like a rattle. Many people were green with envy. Bubble did not go despite the good conditions. It was infuriating. All of you, go to the heaven realm to cultivate together. At this moment, Lu Ming's face darkened. His sharp gaze swept across Bubbles, Lu Xiangxiang and the rest. I'm not crippled, so I don't need you to accompany me. Don't worry, I'll definitely become an emperor in the future, and 111 go to the heaven realm to find you. Master, Lu Xiangxiang muttered. Let's go. Lu Ming said in a serious tone. Yes. In the end, Lu Xiangxiang, Ouyang Moli and the rest nodded. Bubbles pouted unwillingly as well, looking reluctant to leave. Then, she lay on Lu Xiangxiang's shoulder weakly and came to the front of the war chariot. Lu Ming, take care. Huang Ling, Desolate Li and the others also came to the chariot. Lu Ming, when you return to the divine wilderness and see Nianlin, help me pass on a message. When my cultivation level is high, one will definitely go and find her. Long Qin said to Lu Ming. He also wanted to stay behind and return to the divine wilderness to reunite with Xian Yanlin. However, he understood that the Great War was not far away. Without cultivation, even if they were temporarily reunited, so what? They could not protect anything in the future. He wanted to go to the heaven realm to cultivate. He couldn't miss this opportunity. Don't worry, I will be returning to the divine wilderness soon. I will pass on the message for you. Take care. Lu Ming patted Long Chen's shoulder and smiled. Everyone bade farewell to Lu Ming one by one. Qiu Yu was the only one who did not move. Qiu Yu, I go. Lu Ming looked at Qiu Yu. No, I'm not going. I want to stay by young master's side. Qiu Yu shook her head. Before Lu Ming could say anything, Qiu Yu continued, even if young master chases me away, one will not leave. I want to stay by young master's side. One still want to return to the divine wilderness continent to see old master and madam. Qiu Yu looked at Lu Ming with determination. All right then. In the end, Lu Ming sighed and let Qiu Yu stay. Lu Ming, you have to take care. I'm going to the heaven realm too. At this moment, a figure came to Lu Ming's side. It was Emperor Formless. Director. Lu Ming was puzzled. Could it be that the Emperor of Notionless was going to the Heaven Realm to participate in the war? Huntian and Tianhua have entered the Heaven Realm. I don't know if they're dead or alive. I'm worried. Emperor Formless explained. Lu Ming understood that Emperor Formless was going to look for Huntian Emperor and Skyfire Emperor. Principal, take care. Lu Ming cupped his fists. Haha, Lu Ming, I hope that the next time one see you, you'll have already become an emperor. Wuxia smiled and then left. Lu Ming, I hope you can become a Saint Emperor. When the 20 years are up, I'll challenge you. If you don't become a Saint Emperor, everything will be meaningless. In the end, the death blade came to Lu Ming's side, left him with a few words and turned to leave. Let's go. Heavenly Emperor Kong-yin spoke, and the 9 true dragons roared, shaking the heavens. Boom, boom, boom. The 9 dragons pulled the carriage toward the huge door in the depths of the sky. They rushed into the door and disappeared. The other proud children of heaven of the primordial realm also entered the gate and disappeared. Before Yuan Xan stepped through the door, she cast a cold glance at Lu Ming and turned to leave. Lu Ming also saw Luo Zhangqiong in the crowd. He was also one of the 320 people, and he also cast a cold glance at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, I hope you're still alive. I'll definitely kill you the next time I see you. Luo Zhangqiong sneered, turned around and stepped into the gate. Master, take care. Lu Ming, take care. The voices of Lu Xiangxiang, Bubbles and Feng Ling could be heard from the door. The voice came, but the person had already disappeared. In the depths of the sky, tens of thousands of rays of light flashed, and then the door disappeared. Chapter 2141. Chapter 2140. The path is not over, the 6th law. Chapter 2141. Chapter 2140. The path is not over, the 6th law and 8 pets of the KSY, het oder air. Det setirum sias and meer than 030 nasiv offsatar phila ni tre 8 v relma. Eth door rut ni to ec pay. Many people's gazes turned to Lu Ming again. Many people sighed, many people sneered, and some even revealed killing intent. You, El Niam, you tmus yap tai roy effelfren kiog mu ang of the MUNC. La, one of the MU clan's powerhouses, was the first to launch an attack. He strode out with murderous intent and charged at Lu Ming. It was a great emperor with a goatee and a murderous look in his eyes. Gaianem asw a erspseal talt. Enekad vahagon ot8 in ve realm nda deoetna agert por tiatan. He looked Neve Kerb Thora to the 11 Apirermo Elmer Ni8ur. Tough. If he became the heavenly emperor, he would definitely be able to lead the MU family to supreme glory, and the MU family would have high hopes for him. But now he was dead. He was killed by Lu Ming. They would not let Lu Ming off. Wath do you not ot do? Uncle Kong took a step forward and arrived in front of Lu Ming. His powerful aura burst forth and blocked the MU clan emperor. You want to stop my Mu family by yourself? NB, and SP Tonar Kodal Algu spared out, NDA Erfigrep dia si bid yuknal. No ke tismeep dres tua and redevoek mai. It was Nihotrioam. RP. The MU family was a very powerful force in the land of the divine mandate, and they had more than one great emperor. On the other side, the Holy Emperor and the others wanted to help, but they were stopped by the emperors from the Heng, He and Tianluo families. Lu Nigem Sutton die. Yadat. The MU family's emperor with a goatee spoke coldly as he slowly pressed toward Uncle Kong. There was a cold glint in Lu Ming's eyes. Ahad LTCS emsrero karoapal bod. Waita most he ulda klotenra DNA suyaka eskni, and escape with Elknu. Enkog, Mu clan, you've crossed the line. At this moment, a white-haired old man walked over. His terrifying aura made the 2 emperors of the MU family change their expressions. This saw na expert from Eno of the Ordlevio Krisof and Isvechen Fate Taisi, DNA his Naktoivluiasw Omb. Family of Battle of the 10 Lands has just ended. You want to touch the champion of the Battle of the 10 Lands in Destiny City? Are you looking for death? Someone else spoke, staring at the 2 emperors of the MU clan with hostility. He was from another overlord force in the City of Destiny. HT, Any Iman Oprelf Ert Sormper Idrits Tate Wadam Imiaf Great Pemsrier Ithuth Soidi. Although Lu Ming could not become a martial emperor, he was still the champion of the 10 Lands battle. His tough character was admirable. How could he let the MU family touch Lu Ming now? The 2 great emperors of the MU clan gritted their teeth and retreated helplessly. Eo Keet Het Otwfo might and leave Tynsi Taik Sa Soon Sapos, LSI. The white-haired elder messaged Uncle Kong. Hallmaster, let's go. Uncle Kong nodded and said to Lu Ming. With a revar of his dna, a evu of greeneath gerb Lu Ming and Kiyuyai, a nikerb togru the dvoy nad 80 igsernip odahwade. Eckert. After a while, they appeared at the peak of a mountain. This place is already far from the divine fated land. You guys enter my small world first, and 111 take you back to the Yuan mountain. Klenyu Okindi, Sai, Uncle Kong, I don't want to go back for the time being. One want to walk around. Lu Ming suddenly spoke. La WK, AR Odin? Uncle Kong was stunned for a moment, then a complicated look appeared in his eyes. He understood Lu Ming's feelings. The difficulty of becoming a great emperor was a great blow to anyone, let alone an unparalleled genius like Lu Ming. Uljimin diden edom to lak modnu and saj to is. Hallmaster, this is a divine land. I'm afraid the Mu clan will harm you. Uncle Kong was a bit worried. Uncle Kong, don't worry. One won't travel with my true identity. They'll use the divine breath technique to hide my identity. The divine fated land is so big that the Mu family won't be able to find me. Uljimin. Dias, I also want to follow young master. Chiyoyu said. She had also cultivated the divine breath technique. In 8, Den Klenu no Keijin Diod. Diat Sod Gu Ot Etal Lum Jin Kai Arrow. Yuendi, alright then, I'll be waiting for you in the Dian Elixir Palace. Uncle Kong nodded, then tore open space and left. Retfei unlek Jianghu, Tfel Lu Mine DNA Chio Yuats the Ivien de Brait Ek Kani to conj their Anak period DNA seal each the two of them Kla Arjich, eat Trilagavni Hoggart 8M Tuyos DNA. Ervers indeed, it was a huge blow to Lu Ming that he could not become a martial emperor. He had to adjust himself. They walked and stopped, doing whatever they wanted. Sometimes Lu Ming would discuss cultivation with Chiyoyu. Ichu Udad Lyera Osima Ekter or Reprim DNA Lodku Pahermdok many types of Sla. W Ul Ming da Dirle Krenamp de Vif Eitspefo Sal to 8 Traphies level of Ursefen. To an else Thai C, Piasidia Dluak EB Dias OTEB Ervi Eink, Repexidi Dan Uiqa HD Isoa Ike Dervatol of Tian. Reaps. Sometimes Lu Ming would sit in meditation for a few days in a place. Chiyoyu would stay by his side and comprehend the laws. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye 2 months had passed. On a Omeninto E, KPA Lu NJM DHA Neeb Tnamajet Fro half A. Moten, how should one continue on my future path? He sat quietly on the mountain peak, watching the clouds move and relax. Now Lu Ming's mood had completely adjusted. He was thinking about his future path. Niix Inak break rugtho to hair, CHT 111 Inanuek to Ikadrepen the oil kaming assel. The more nomological laws one comprehend, the stronger my combat strength will be. As long as my combat strength grows, it doesn't matter if I become a monarch or not. Lu Ming's eyes gradually lit up. Neaset Kaudal Namp be a satin mystery orp, Ia would oitnuns ot hmokdepnerwan laws. His combat strength would increase exponentially with every new law he fused. He only had 5 nomological laws now. What about 6, 7, 8 or even more? What level would his combat strength reach? Moreover, since he could comprehend 2 ultimate maxims, could he comprehend 3 or 4? Flao called Reloctan all Tnefomsh, Iao Olapof Wadlu his path had not been cut off, and his strength could still continue to improve. Then he'll comprehend a new law. Lu Nmg Stodo up, a Fntidiakan cool no Ishikafagina. Young master. Chiyoyu came to Lu Ming's side. Yuchi why youist go. Lu Ming held Chiyoyu's small hand and left. Next, what laws should I comprehend? Lu Niam red nod. After a moment, Lu Ming made a decision. The laws of alchemy. Nt. X Uljiminine leaped into her cottonfee the Yamals Dao saw. The law of alchemy, the law of array, and the law of weapons were 3 kinds of king law evolved from the Dao of inscription, each with its own mystery. Lu Ming had already mastered the array Dao laws. He planned to master the alchemy Dao laws and the equipment Dao laws in the future. Att ya ethisen fuo fo het atra laws lidof nilite be evnorm os. Entirely after a few days they arrived at a large city. This large city was the sacred land of alchemy in the land of divine destiny. It was filled with the fragrance of medicinal herbs. The forces in this large city were practically all focused on alchemy. Lu Niam and Uiqi would ista and HT Ike ROFHT at me IEBGNTL lid Hepelu Gemini in his Niho Coimperson FO8 Semle Ode Law. Within a few days Lu Ming had already mastered the alchemy Dao laws. This made Lu Ming secretly amazed. He comprehended various laws at an astonishing speed. Are Udenjit Sai Oidrep Foitm, IUIQU had Osla Eamb Egfmiorekten wrote LWS, Chidai Ink no Drut Argit Enser. Tisak TL was Vrade Fifkuttle to T. Ilva took Lu Ming guessed that it might be related to his mutated Saint Heart. Lu Ming and Xiaoyu stayed there for 2 months. Lu Ming's alchemy Dao laws had already reached 30% mastery before the two of them left. Chapter 2142, Chapter 2141, Returning to Ancient Moon Holy Land. Chapter 2142, Chapter 2141 Returning to Ancient Moon Holy Land. The two of them didn't rush back to Mount Yuan. They continued to wander around, relaxing and cultivating at the same time. Aeon City, Mu family, a group of people were discussing something in a hall. According to a reliable source, Lu Ming did not return to Mount Yuan. The only one who returned was that old bastard Dan Kong. An expert of the Mu clan said. However, we have sent people to look for Lu Ming everywhere but we can't find him. It seems that he has vanished into thin air. Another person said. It's fine. We'll just wait for him. Lu Ming will return to Mount Yuan sooner or later. We'll send people to Mount Yuan and wait for him there. That's right. Lu Ming must die. We must avenge Mu Yang. The experts of the Mu clan all spoke. Let me go personally. Finally, a middle-aged man with a goatee walked out. This was a great emperor. He was the first one to launch an attack on Lu Ming at the Mountain of Destiny. With you around we can rest assured. The others nodded. The goateed emperor immediately left Aeon City with the two masters of the Mu family and headed for Yuan Mountain. Lu Ming was unaware of all this. They continued to walk and comprehend. In the north of the Yuan continent, the land of the divine beasts was an extremely desolate and hidden place. The space here was extremely unstable and the original chi was thin. It was the famous dead land of the divine beast. There were tens of thousands of divine beasts in the land of divine beasts, but none of them would approach this place. On this day, a beautiful woman in black was holding the hand of a little boy who was about 3 or 4 years old. The little boy had bright eyes and white teeth. He was very good looking. Mother, where are we going? The little boy asked. The peerless woman looked at the little boy with a complicated look in her eyes. In the end, she said gently, Mother will take you to a better place to teach you cultivation. Hee, little sister, I haven't seen you for many years. I didn't expect that you would even have a child. A delicate laugh rang out and a figure stepped through the air. This was also a woman with unparalleled beauty. Her appearance was exactly the same as the woman in black from before, but her temperament was slightly different. The woman behind him was wearing a white dress. She was covered in holy light and looked very holy. Thank you, Nianjuan. The woman in black's eyes turned cold. That's right, the woman in black was Xian Yanqing and the woman in white was Xian Yanjuan. Xian Yanjuan looked at the little boy in Xian Yanqing's hands and was surprised. This little doll looks 70 to 80% similar to Lu Ming. Don't tell me it's yours and Lu Ming's? This is really beyond my expectations. I can see that you've already awakened. It's even weirder that you do such a thing with Lu Ming and not kill him. Xian Yanjuan was very curious. I don't need you to care about me. Xian Yanqing said coldly. That's not right. I can see that your memories from your previous life and current life aren't fusing. It should mean that your memories from this life aren't willing to fuse with your memories from your previous life. No wonder, no wonder. However, if you continue like this, your cultivation level will be completely surpassed by me sooner or later. Xian Yanjuan chuckled as if he had noticed something. Xian Yanqing's expression was complicated. Although she had already awakened the memories of her previous life, she was unwilling to merge the memories of this life with those of her previous life. The two types of memories would alternate and control this body. Why do you have to do this? Only when we merge the memories of our past lives can we break through and rise again, surpass our past lives and step onto the path of supremacy. If you do this, all your efforts will eventually go to waste. In the end, Xian Yanjuan sighed. Her personality had changed a lot compared to before. In the past, she would never speak to Xian Yanqing with such an attitude. At this moment, Xian Yanqing's expression changed. His eyes and expression changed. They were the same as before. She patted the little boy's head lovingly and said, I want merge them. This life is this life and the past life is the past life. Why should I awaken and merge them? It seems that you can't let go of Lu Ming. Xian Yanjuan said. Xian Yanqing remained silent. Mother, who is she? Why does she look like you? The little boy asked as he sized up Xian Yanjuan curiously. I'm your aunt. Come to me. He'll take you to the heaven realm and teach you how to cultivate supreme techniques. Xian Yinjuan smiled. He'll take him there, you don't need to worry. After Xian Yinqing said that, he held the little boy's hand and walked towards the void turbulence. Xian Yinjuan smiled and followed them into the void. Finally they disappeared. If other people knew about this, they would be very surprised. The void turbulence here could actually lead to the heaven realm? Lu Ming and Xiao Yu walked and stopped along the way. When they arrived at the Ring Sea, half a year had passed since the Battle of the Ten Lands had ended. In the past 6 months, the news of the Battle of the Ten Lands had spread all over the world. Countless people were shocked. Countless people knew of Lu Ming's name. Of course, there were also countless people who sighed. An unparalleled heaven's favorite couldn't become a saint emperor. This made people sigh. After Lu Ming and Xiao Yu arrived at the Ring Sea, they took the cross-sea warship and returned to the Yuan mountain. After returning to Mount Yuan, they didn't disguise themselves and restored their original appearances. Lu Ming did not head to the Heavenly Emperor City, nor did he return to the Ancient Moon Sanctuary. The first place he wanted to go to was the Ancient Saint Clan. He was going to the Ancient Saint Clan to find Xian Yinjuan and ask about Xian Yinqing. He felt that Xian Yinjuan must know what had happened to Xian Yinqing. Unfortunately, when he arrived at the Ancient Saint Clan, he was told that Xian Yinjuan had left the Ancient Saint Clan a few months ago and had disappeared. Lu Ming had no choice but to leave the Ancient Saint Clan and take the teleportation array back to the Ancient Moon Sanctuary. Emperor Notionless had already left. There was no need for Lu Ming to go to the Heavenly Emperor City. Lu Ming planned to return to the Ancient Moon Holy Land first before returning to the Azure Continent. It was time to settle the matter at the Azure Continent. With his current combat strength, he could kill an ordinary Void Emperor with a wave of his hand. After settling the matters at the Azure Continent, it was time for him to return to the Divine Wilderness Continent. It had been more than 10 years since he left the Divine Wilderness Continent. It was time for him to return. It's Lu Ming. Lu Ming is back. When Lu Ming walked out of the teleportation array outside the Ancient Moon Sanctuary, he was immediately recognized by the others. The area around the teleportation formation was in an uproar. Lu Ming's name shook the world. In the Battle of the Ten Lands, he stepped on the other heaven's favorites and won the championship. His magnificence made the people of the Ancient Moon Holy Land feel proud. Everyone make way. Lu Ming was speechless. The road was blocked and a large number of people were watching from all directions. Lu Ming and Xiao Yu squeezed out of the crowd and flew towards the Ancient Moon Holy Land. If he's just a cripple. If he can't become a divine emperor, what's the use of having strong battle prowess at this stage? After Lu Ming left, some people sneered and mocked him. Everyone looked over and recognized the Yuan family. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.